3, 2, 1, we are on. Hello everyone. We are back once again for week 7 by now of the AWOL Monday, and I'm today not alone. You see here already Harizin, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken, and yeah, hello.
Hello. How's everyone doing today? I hope we're ready to watch some altered gameplay.
Yeah, we've come online a bit later, so we are directly starting into the games, and I think for this week there might not be announcements by Simon for the rounds to start up, since I think only Blue and Cole aren't around today, so we might still have Simon here today. We will figure out shortly, I think. But Cole, at least already in chat. Hello. Probably once again or something.
There's something. Hopefully he'll help us out a little bit.
Yeah. And I should maybe I'm not missing when the games go up. Just enjoying the games.
So Gurang, I'm happy.
Okay, yeah. Gurang player. Playing the Valence. So at least there are so many players with the team tags. Do you want to jump into a Gurang first round already?
We might as well jump into the first game we can get our hands on.
Yeah, then let's go to table 2. Okay, maybe it would have been open. And maybe let's go just to table 35 against Tomzo. Forget to switch scenes, otherwise we'll have a podcast and I will forget that at least once today. So be prepared. And today.
Hopefully we can get the game started.
Okay, audio seems to be already not working, so let's maybe switch. Okay, now I need to mute myself on Video Ninja, otherwise you'll hear me twice. Okay, you do. Okay. I hope. Yeah, it seems somehow these on my stream just doesn't like the Video Ninja audio, so I'm not too sure what's happening there. Oh, I forgot to tell you which table we're on. I think we're on table 35 now. Oh no, I do hear you twice. Okay. Can you mute on Video Ninja? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Oh. Okay, I can send you the tournament page. So that's the tournament page, and you can scroll down to on round 1 to table 35, I think it is, and then you can just join over that. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So is the audio now fine, Cole? Maybe you can tell us. Oh, I didn't check how loud it is here now. Wait, okay, yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, I need to. Okay, I think now you should be. No, people should hear you on the stream.
All right, here's hoping the
yeah,
audio's
perfect.
all set now and people can hear me.
Yeah.
No more crackle. I can't be heard though.
Yes. I just fixed that, so.
Okay.
You might just be a little bit louder than me, but yeah, we'll figure it out.
Well, I'll try and keep quiet a little bit, so I'm not too loud, so I'm not yelling your ear off.
It's okay. It's okay. I need to.
Awesome. It's all good now.
Perfect.
Thank you, Cole. We appreciate it.
Perfect. Okay, nice. So we almost missed the first half of this game already. So we are in Tasia against Fen matchup. And it seems on the one side we have a ramp or interaction Tasia, and on the other side we have a mirror or a magical Fen. So just trying to play as many magical trainings as possible and loop them back to the hand and just play them over and over again. So far, game seemed even on the tumult, but now Fen apparently gets a huge spike, so looking good for them, and also good on reserve. So, yeah.
Yeah, Fen definitely does have a bit of a commanding advantage right now in this day, but I'm interested to see how things turn out when she has to go to Dusk and then clean up all the cards in reserve and go down to such a small hand size. It looks like the Tasia player is going to play a Beauty Sleep, which will hopefully help, but he just plays it on the Aja because he knows he's not advancing there. Hopefully he can pull out like a Laboratory here or a Lyra Contortionist so he can at least keep some of the cards in his reserve so he's not just ditching them all the time. That way he can keep them stocked for things like the Anansi if he wants to play them in future turns.
Yeah, there's also the option here to double discount for the magical training and just draw a card. So you're not really overloading, you just get the double advance, and yeah, that's what's happening here. And yeah, Fen actually in card and board advantage, so that has to feel quite good. Losing a magical training like that isn't the greatest thing, but you can always find more. There are at least 3 in the deck most likely.
This is really interesting too, because now that the Tasia player has that Aja for the next day, they'll have a bit more of an advantage against the Fen. But they also have that Beauty Sleep in reserve we know about that'll really be helpful as a break glass in case of emergency type spell. But I mean, like you said, Fen already has, it's almost a little over a double advance away. Just needs a double advance and then a single advance. And unless the Tasia can pull out something really big here, I'm not sure what they'll be able to do. They did just play that Esmeralda, followed by a Loki.
And that is a on play 6 mana would be better, but I think this is conditionless. So yeah, this is a really nice Loki. And wow. Yeah, just gets rid of hand and reserve here for the Fen. So that is really strong.
That was absolutely huge for the Tasia.
That being conditionless is so good.
The fact that it comes in from anywhere, I know it costs 7, but I feel like that doesn't even matter with stats like that, and with the fact that it has this effect when it enters from anywhere.
Yeah, the Tasia just flipped the matchup and said, well, you earn the advantage, now I have the advantage. Because on low hand amounts, the Tasia should pretty much always just be better because these cards are more suited to be high costed, so they are better statted for the cost. And yeah, that is super hard to compete with for a Fen at this point. Still gets a double advance here though, and goes super low on resources, but at least down to 1 progression left.
This will be really interesting. The Fen basically burned their entire hand for this. They'll definitely cycle into something else, and now that the Loki was asleep, they can't cycle the Fen's hand again, which could be useful if they end up drawing something useful.
Yeah, the Loki probably wouldn't be played against since the Fen is only drawing 1 card and you know 3 of their cards, and getting rid of 3 cards that you know probably doesn't feel the greatest.
That's right, the Loki trigger is not a May trigger.
Yeah, that's the... I think we've theorized on our team that you might want conditions on your Loki so you can decide if you want to trigger the ability or not. And yeah, in this case, you maybe do not want to trigger the Loki. And yeah, since it's also staying on the board, quite good for now.
Oh yeah.
And there's now a Grand Boar. I do not get to see that card often. But I think
It's an interesting card. I mean, it did draw the Fen a card to their hand, which is more power for them, which is, I'm not sure how that's going to work out for this Tasia.
yeah, this Beauty Sleep is Twinkle Twinkle is just looking so good already. And I think we have someone in chat here that revealed this Grand Bra card.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was Cole's card reveal. Oh, another Loki.
Oh,
Is
wow.
What does this do? Oh, this one needs 2 boosted characters. Those are really, really sweet Lokis.
That's really interesting, because if you notice, the Fen discarded 2 Twinkle Twinkles, one from reserve and then one from their hand. So they're probably going to use that as removal.
Yeah.
So now they're in a really interesting spot. They did get a fresh hand, but now they have no removal spells that we know of, at least. This Fen just needs to get to 7 in Mountain.
I feel like this might draws
this might be it.
2 really good snowmans.
Just needs
already
one more in their hand. And they did it.
Yeah, that is.
They got there. That's amazing.
Both refills of the Loki, I feel like, were super good for the Tasia, for the Fen. The one turn they got Twinkle Twinkle, and the other one they got just the Outstat for the Loki.
I mean, there were some great draws from both of them. I mean, I was worried the Tasia wouldn't, or the Fen wouldn't be able to pull through after the 2 removal spells were put into discard. But I mean, the more cards you see, the more advantage you're going to have in the long run. And that Fen saw a lot of cards with their own ability, and then with those 2 Lokis.
Oh, Cole apparently also playing. You're playing an AWOL today, Cole? Cole apparently also likes his Lokis.
Loki's a fun card. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I do absolutely hate that card, but yeah, if you're playing the Loki yourself, it might be fun, but playing against it, not so much.
Loki's an interesting card, but as long as it's not Hunger, I'm happy. Hunger is the bane of my existence.
Yeah, I can quite understand that. I still like Loki less than Hunger. I think Hunger is easier to play around. Loki just always surprises me when it's played.
That's fair. Hunger is easier to play around, but I play a lot of heroes that care about a lot of setup, either setting up reserve or setting up landmarks. And as soon as you see that Hunger, you're just devastated. Especially when I play a lot of things like Open the Gates in my Gurang decks. I play a 5-mana Open the Gates, and if they play a Hunger and it's Sadi ramped or something like that, then I have nothing else to do with my turn, and it feels really bad.
Yeah. Let's maybe this time go to table 2. You said you maybe wanted to see Gurang gameplay, and on table 2 loss against Telupas, we will definitely have a Gurang matchup here against Afanas, actually. So,
oh, wow.
Gurang has
a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, Gurang has quite a good setup here, with a lot of cards in hand, and also the double Masecta already, but Afanas does have even more cards in hand, so it's also looking very, very good for them.
This is really, really nice. The Gurang is in a fairly powerful position with those 2 Mesictets. I know Asadi's looking really good, but having that Evanescence in reserve and just keeping it there is a huge silver bullet against this Gurang, because he can just play whenever he wants and basically get rid of all the Mesictet tokens.
This is unfortunately the common Evanescence, so it only sends to reserve 1 character and not the multiple that the rare does.
Oh, wow.
So it sends up to a 5 cost to reserve and not 5 tokens.
That's interesting. I thought that was the rare. I'm curious to see why Afanas is running just the common version of it. I'm not sure if he's running any other go wide removal spells. Maybe he's running a Kraken draft, but that's a little bit of an outdated spell.
Yeah, no, usually the Afanases don't really run mass removals. They just use the Evanescence to trigger the Nylem Spire, the Nylem Wither trees, if they have those in the deck.
Yeah.
And it's just more. I think I've seen some players just cut the off you go instead for the Evanescence because it synergizes better with that Nylum Wither tree. But yeah, it doesn't hit as many things, of course, as the off you go.
Even as
Hello, are you still there?
Hi, Mark.
Okay.
I'm still here.
You just cut off on me for a second.
Ooh, my apologies. Sorry about that. But no, yeah, I was just saying Evanescence is just a great card, like you said. It's just overall probably a more well-rounded card than Off You Go. Off You Go is a classic, but it's slowly going to get power crept out with things like this.
Exactly. And I'm really not sure who at this point is favored in this matchup. I myself feel like that Afanas just going toe-to-toe on card advantage and just getting the early advances. I feel like they are just in such a good position, and they do see a hunger getting rid of those Misectats. It is painful.
We were talking about it.
It is painful, but yeah. Actually, I think there are definitely answers with cards like License Withdrawal and then just advancing for the Gurang side. But yeah, not having those tokens at start of turn, that might be a bit painful to deal with.
It looks like they might not have that license withdrawal. They might be trying to draw into it or some sort of removal spell.
Yeah.
But no, getting rid of all that setup the Gurang had was a huge break for them. Now the Afanas is in a very commanding position because all of Gurang's setup is completely negated. Yeah, it looks like the Gurang's just trying to draw a few cards to try and stabilize, hoping they can draw into something that'll help them out.
It is the Overloss special with all those bureaucrats in the deck. It's a really funny deck, and they even get to double advance over the hunger without even removing it. So now that hunger is kind of stuck in the reserve for Afanas, but I think this hunger will just get discarded eventually, or actually just boosting it up with the spells for Afanas. Also sounds interesting. Yeah, it has gigantic, but I think you're still just playing into that license withdrawal from the Gurang side, and they just managed to outstep the 7/7, so you're pretty much at risk to still get double advanced on. So I think they'll just play cards from hand. They do have 8 in hand start of turn. So yeah.
Having 8 cards in your hand for an Afanas is bad news for a Gurang, but the Gurang also has a pretty decent hand size as well, so I don't think, hopefully it's not too big of a deal, but I know generally Gurang has a very interesting strategy where Afanas wants to go tall with a few characters, where Gurang wants to go wide and then kind of boost them up from there just with her hero ability. But I mean, the fact that Gurang is not totally behind on the companion side is worse than it looks if she does have a Mezek that she wants to play, or if she does want to play, more cards that care about being behind.
Yeah, I'm just reading the game chat, and someone I think from the local store of Overloss just came in the chat and asked if this is testing or a tournament, and Overloss himself answered, well, it's a tournament, and the opponent afterwards just answered, it's testing.
Oh my gosh. I did not see that. That is too funny.
Yeah. And Overloss, like me and Pandy, is of course German, so there's always some rooting going on. And yeah. And now we also see one of the reasons I think this matchup is quite Afanas favored. This Mage Dancer, I feel like pretty much always still is able to get at least one expedition, even though there are a ton of tokens in the expedition. But yeah, especially if there are no Mizek decks, this card looks even stronger. So yeah, I feel like Afanas might be able to just trade a bunch of expeditions now to win the game.
Yeah, this is a very weird position for the Gurang to be in, especially when she created her token from the field reinforcements in her hero expedition. Because she just put it in her companion expedition, she could have played the Ortis Overseer in her hero expedition, and because it was behind, it would have created the token anyway. And now it looks like the Afanas is just going to keep drawing cards with things like magical training, maybe draw into a few removal spells and just keep casting them on Gurang's characters and just keep boosting up that
Yeah,
Mage Dancer. Wow, it looks like the Gurang just played a unique Ortis Overseer.
yeah, and this one is pretty much the same as the rare version, just gets an additional it doesn't have the condition on on the expedition needs to be behind,
Yeah.
and it's an
And it
additional
resupplies.
resupply from reserve. So yeah,
Wow, that's a really interesting unique. The stats on it aren't great, but when you're creating 2 tokens or multiple
yeah,
tokens for no additional cost, that's always good.
yeah,
Hopefully,
and
there's a removal spell here for the Gurang to get rid of that Mage Dancer, because I know the Afanas already has a lot of cards in hand, but and stripping any of that advantage would be huge.
it just plays another Mage Dancer, knowing well I don't need to double advance at all. I just need to one-on-one expedition. Don't let the Gurang get even, and the game is looking good for the Afanas, so that's exactly what they're doing. And just the sheer amount of card draw now 2 Mage Dancers on the board get is crazy. They can also just start thinking about sleeping one of their own Mage Dancers, so they stay on the board longer.
Looks like Afanas is most likely going to get this advance, though, in the Companion Expedition. Obviously, the Gurang has it in Hero, but after using that Conjuring Seal to draw a bunch of cards, that's huge for the Gurang to replenish their hand and hopefully maybe draw some removal for something that would otherwise be a pain. Maybe a Teamwork Training or a License to Withdraw that could help them later on, especially if the Afanas does want to play something like that Hunger, when they have a little bit more mana and can just give it boost to have that Gigantic do the work for them. And then Gurang can just get rid of it right there.
There's the Beauty Sleep onto the Mage Dancer, and yeah, this is quite nicely set up. A single Mage Dancer now advances and both get the draw. So yeah, super good gameplay here from Afanas side. They really are happy with this game state, and yeah, it's now really tough for the Gurang to find answers into this.
Yeah, I mean, having that Mage Dancer just sitting there on the next day is going to be absolutely huge for this Afanas.
Yeah, and this just screams to maybe be even a double advance with having 2 different Mage Dancers on opposite expeditions, and just having that many cards is kind of absurd.
I mean, I've been in positions like this before as a Gurang player. I think, there's obviously that chance she does want to be very behind and then kind of rush the enemy as fast as she can. So I don't counter out yet, but I'm holding out hope. The Afanas is in a very commanding position, though I will not deny that.
Yeah,
It looks like he did get rid of that Hunger, too.
For me, the game is either about you have a really hard luck with card advantage, so your opponent can't lose in the early game and the late game, so you don't really care about losing advancements early on. And even if you don't get these in games where you just go behind early on and your opponent just gets the same amount of card advantage as you, I feel like the game is just always really, really, really hard to play, if not kind of impossible to play, because this game is just all about card advantage in the later stages of the game, and if you don't get a lead, it's so hard to come back.
I completely agree with that. Yeah. Speaking of getting a lead, the Afanas just sabotaged that unique Ortis Overseer for Gurang, which is going to be huge because I'm certain they were counting on that to hopefully get a little bit more of an advantage to create a few extra tokens. But now she's stuck with just that Conjuring Seal and the Aegis Templar in reserve. Hopefully she can pull back from this, but one double advantage from the Afanas and the game will be over. And it looks like he might be able to get it, especially with that Beauty Sleep in reserve, to maybe hit something big the Gurang plays.
Third unique coming out here already, and it's a token generators, but you have to additionally put a card from your hand in reserve. So that might be a bit painful just because you lose so many cards from your hand playing this. But it is in the Gatekeeper's Expedition. Okay.
Also, with that Rhyme Frost, too, anything that the Gurang does put in reserve to this Ortis Gatekeeper's effect will most likely get Rhyme Frost. And so playing anything good here isn't really optimal.
Yeah. And
if they use it at all.
Actually, the synergy on this Gatekeepers, you can... Oh, that is another Overlord special with the Easy Talk. Interestingly enough, just a common one, but oftentimes it just stalls enough, I guess, to be justified to be played. And we do see another Evanescence here. And Gurang just needs to keep playing out of hand here, and that is...
I think what she does is she just discards that is the talk. I'd imagine she's going to try and discard it to draw a card to hopefully get something that can deal with this massive advantage the Afanas has.
Yeah, I don't see a way here, so even if it's not a 2-hour advance this turn, it's... Okay, that should prevent double advance at least.
It'll definitely prevent that double advance. Hopefully, the Gurang also maybe drew into a teamwork training. That would obviously be great here to get rid of the other Mage Dancer. So that way, the Afanas isn't drawing an additional card at dusk.
Yeah, and this also, I always like to look at the timer, and this Afanas already in overtime, but overloss on 7 minutes remaining. So yeah. Oh, Conscription, also a really nice card to put out a ton of stats, and just puts out a 6 in that hero side, so might be able to go even this turn.
And that's a rare conscription as well. So the Gurang can use again next turn, especially with that unique that's going to want to fill up the reserve. Now I'm kind of seeing their strategy with that unique that wants to put cards in reserve. It's a conscription deck.
Yeah, and the good part about this is you can play cards. So usually if you want to at some point play a lot of cards from your hand, you are overflowing them at the end of your turn from reserve anyway, so you're just putting them into reserve and can just play them from reserve, so you don't really get that overflow, but of course just having that on no condition, of course, even better. So yeah, but still really decent unique, I'd say.
Oh yeah, especially if it double spawns, that's always a huge advantage, and they generally come with a drawback, like sacrificing a character, like putting a card from your hand into your reserve. But you can build around it. People build around deck, uniques like that, and that's ideally what Equinox wanted to be done with the game. Instead of having these unconditional uniques, kind of find uniques that are a little more weird, a little more out there, and then kind of build a deck around that and really just make it your own.
And after all that's been done this game, this Afanas still might end up now double advancing here. Okay, now I think with another Beauty Sleep in hand, this was actually still a double advance for the Afanas, since they just put 2 more boosts currently onto this Mage Dancer. Actually, any 1-cost spell alongside this double Dry Red would have won for the Afanas. That is crazy.
This will be really interesting, because now Gurang has a massive card disadvantage compared to this Afanas. And Afanas already has a 7/6/6 in the Companion Expedition. The Gurang is going to need some serious power or a removal spell or something to pull a win out here.
And just going up against now being down cards is so painful.
I wonder if Gurang even puts anything down here. It depends what she draws. If she draws something she's not really looking to maybe use, maybe she does just keep her mana, but if she's got 4 cards in her hand, she might as well put one down. I doubt she's going to be using all of them.
I think the only win condition here for AWOL at this point is just wait out the time. Your opponent needs to spend 20 seconds more on their turns, and you just can kind of time them out. So yeah, just wait until you're on 0 minutes left, and wait for your opponent to always time you out, so you just win on timer. Easy.
That's the strategy. Every time. Easy wins.
Yeah. You just need a specific set of turns, so your opponent just can't. So you would need, actually, how many plays would you need for that strategy? So the game ends definitely at -5 minutes. So if your opponent is at 2:30, you need 6, 7, 8 slow plays to win the game, kind of. I'm not sure if the math on that is correct. But yeah, maybe.
It's possible.
6
you
slow
plays. You
plays.
heard it here first. Slow play your opponent to win. That's Rune Folk's advice. That's the only takeaway you need from today.
Exactly. We are at least hostaging.
Too bad there's no judge to call over.
Yeah, I might if I ever play a big tournament, I might need to call I might need to call the judge over just to tell my opponent to play faster.
Slow play is a penalty.
Yeah, my deck is really slow, so I need to I need my opponent to play fast.
It looks like that Gurang just played another conscription, another rare conscription, which is great because Afanas has 3 cards in reserve. I'm interested to see what this Gurang does here because she's still facing down an 8/7/7 in the companion expedition, and she's not quite advancing there yet either. The Afanas still has 6 mana and 2 Joyrides. If he can find a way to fill up his reserve, he can just double Joyride, and that'll definitely get him to win one way or another, seeing he only needs 1 advance.
Yeah, first Joyride coming out now, and is there 3 mana easy talk for the Gurang to just block that Spindle Harvester? But yeah, this
I think I've seen that unique. I think I've seen that unique. The 3 mana Isatok.
yeah, for sure.
It's entirely possible if she does a 3 mana, it could very well be a license withdrawal.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and would be much better than the teamwork training, since with teamwork training, this Harvester can just still be replayed and maybe get enough stats, and that was called.
We got the license withdrawal.
Yeah.
That was great for that Gurang. We got that license withdrawal. This will most likely be a double advance. I'm not sure what the Afanas can pull out here, but if Gurang does double advance her, she's in an incredibly commanding position.
I think there's still threat. This could still be. Yeah, if there's still a Beauty Sleep or Off You Go in hand, I think the Afanas still wins.
This could still absolutely be a loss.
Yeah, and I think Sap Infusion is the same amount of. No, actually, Sap Infusion is 1 stat less than the Off You Go.
The Afanas needs. Oh, I see what the Afanas does here. The Afanas now plays a Joyride, getting rid of that Sap Infusion, and that will just win them the game right now because they're both in water in the Hero Expedition, and Gurang is all tapped out.
It doesn't immediately win, it's just 3 boosts, and they're going to 9 as well and tying. So they would need 1 more spell after that, and yeah, I think still that is quite likely.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain they'll have 1 mana spell somewhere in their hand.
Or 2 mana spell, yeah.
That's
so
true.
1 mana, they've played a lot 1 mana spells already. Oh, Pacify, I wasn't counting on that card, but that is winning that expedition solo.
And it looks like the Afanas are going for that double advance anyway.
I think it's still not a double advance, it's still just blocking, but yeah. That Pacify looked amazing.
You're right, it is a block on that hero side, but that Pacify was an amazing play. I completely forget about her every time until she's actually played.
Yeah, I feel like this Afanas deck was really tacked against Gurang. They had that hunger, and they also had that Pacify that just works quite well into Gurang. So yeah, interesting list from the Afanas side. Definitely some cards I did not expect, and actually I did not look at that Muna Caregiver at all. It's giving fleeting and returning card when leaving. Okay, that's a really nice one.
Well, that was a great game. The Gurang player did what she could, but unfortunately, Afanas won that one. They just had, the Afanas had more card advantage, more incremental value than the Gurang. But great game overall. I always love seeing any sort of Gurang gameplay, especially if it's a close match like that, which Gurang definitely was in a deficit and ended up coming back anyway. Still couldn't eke out that win, but it's a quality game, and I'm always here for it.
Yeah, there are still 2 games left running, so we can now go to table 7. I think that's one of the 2 games. No, that just finished up. So the last run running now is table 30. And we are in a tiebreaker, and it's again Afanas against Gurang. I should swap. Since hello potato. Always good to see you here. You're probably not playing today. I haven't checked names today yet, but I at least haven't seen your name so far today.
Oop, there's a license withdrawal from the Gurang. Most likely getting rid of that Baba Yaga. Awesome. Again, we're just seeing a match where Afanas just has more card advantage than the Gurang.
Yeah, it seems like that hero is just built to draw cards.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. It's almost like it's part of his game plan. I'm not sure if it's just like a Afanas cult or something, but this is getting weird.
And in Evanescence, just removing tokens. But yeah, I think this is pretty much already won for the Afanas side.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh, actually, what? That is a resupply unique for the Afanas. Oh, this is the resupply loop Afanas list. I did not see that yet. That's interesting.
I don't know what that one card in Gorang's hand is, but
that
it better be something good.
Yeah.
The license withdrawal with is great, but that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, exactly. So it is going the Afanas way once again, but I really like these resupply lists from Afanas's. They always look so cool. But they do need a lot of time to be played out.
It does
and
take
also
critical mass to get
maximum time reached. So in the end, I think the Afanas lost on time.
Oh wow! You're right. The game was abandoned.
Yeah, you need to play faster, I guess. But yeah, both players being in positive time. But yeah, it's still players just joined late to the table, so that's why it's timing out at 35. So it's timing out at 5 minutes after round starts. So yeah, you at this point don't have to check the in-game timers, but the actual clock. And I'm scrolling through the games and already see on table 2 Tag Fire against Cladus, a Altered Aces team battle. Which is...
wow, look at that.
Do you have a table you want to take a look at?
What table do we want to look at? Let's I'm interested in seeing table 7.
Okay.
That's looking like a really interesting one. Let's see what this is all about.
Altered Aces pre-post against DSL Queen.
I knew it. I picked a good table.
Okay, yeah. I'm seeing it.
Yep, we got a Gurang versus Gurang mirror match. This is what I like to see. This is what I live for. It's so interesting to play that Gurang mirror, especially to be right in it, because some Gurang decks just play so differently. Some care a lot about card advantage, some care about setting up with landmarks, and I just love to see how other Gurang players build their deck and just how they love the hero in their own way.
Yeah, I do also have a few Gurang games. I do play it a bit more like my Varu decks, since I just have really good uniques for that hero. And yeah, there we already see day 1 Misacted. And I think in this Gurang mirror matchup, it's also interesting to see if one of the players actually wants to play for the tumult and just wants to get the early advantage, or if they just say, well, I want the value out of my Misacteds and also out of the field reinforcements. So yeah.
Misacted's a really interesting one to play into the mirror match. It's not bad, but it really sets you up into, you have to stall as much as you can and then realize as soon as you are both online that Misacted's going to do basically nothing.
Yeah, I think actually just advancing on one of these expeditions might be a fine strategy in this Gurang mirror match, since especially early on, the field reinforcements for your opponents don't really benefit them if they just block anyway. So just drawing the card from field reinforcements is already good. But yeah, there's one Gurang that has a lot more cards in hand than the other Gurang.
Yeah. I mean, normally in the Gurang matchup, you just draw and you play these Conjuring Seals like they're both doing, and you just draw and draw and draw until you reach that critical mass, and from there, both players just go crazy.
Yeah, and Halo in chat shutting out. They also like their draw uniques, and they do have at least one really sweet unique for Gurang. It is drawing 3 at dusk if the expedition fails to move forward, and added to that, it's just creating a token in the hero expedition, so you can kind of always play it on turn 5 into your hero expedition and know if the token isn't removed, you'll draw 3.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I do have a even better Quetzalcoatl that is whenever your opponent draws a card, create 2 tokens, and at dusk it draws 3 cards. It is also quite nice for Gurang strategies.
It's so good for Gurang. In my Gurang deck, I run 3 Quetzalcoatls. They all have an Open the Gates effect, and they all double spawn tokens when an opponent draws or resupplies.
That is quite cool, yeah. I also do really like these Atlases with the Open the Gates effect.
Oh, those are so good and so hard to find.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen a few, but yeah, those are impossible to get. Also really nice. I've once heard of a Atlas that is drawing cards when a character joins the expeditions, and that also has quite some synergy uniques.
It sounds okay. It's not too good. If anyone has it, I'll take it off your hands for you. It's not worth your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably worth like €5 at most.
Yeah, it's not drawing your entire deck with a specific other unique. No.
But that's actually interesting.
By now, both of
Gurang
these
just played the license withdrawal.
Yeah, both of these Gurangs now on equal cards in hand, pretty much. But now it's kind of about who gets to remove the Masectats. And the first one is already removed.
And he plays another one.
Yeah. Who could have expected that? Yeah, but this matchup early game is just about drawing cards, playing that Conjuring Seal, and yeah, I'm now also interested to see what kind of uniques these players are actually running, because at this point they will likely at least have drawn 1, right?
I mean, I would imagine. I mean, we have one of the Gorangs that has about 10 cards in their hand, 9 cards in their hand. So they might have drawn 1 by now.
Yeah.
I'm interested that the Gorangs are fighting so heavily over Masectats. It's a very good card. But when you have so many cards in your hand, I feel like you want to save that license withdraw for a really critical moment, especially if, for example, one of the Gorangs is behind or is ahead in one of the expeditions, so they don't even be getting maximum value out of it.
Yeah, that is usually not. I don't think the license withdrawal gets too much value outside of the Masectat in this matchup, so that's why a lot of these players just play that onto the Masectat. I don't think there are a lot of other characters that get a lot of boosts that are worth to license withdrawal, and that's why we see the heavy fight over the Masectat removal.
Well, the interesting is we haven't seen any uniques yet, and some Gorangs run Silas's that go really tall, or have key pieces that do care about counters. And funny enough, Town Square I've seen a few times in some decks, which can be a very hard landmark to get around, especially if it's just giving you a charge every turn.
Yeah, Town Square is also one of my favorite new landmarks. I'm playing it in Varu and played together with the Overseer. The Overseer with that can sometimes just become a 10-10-10 on the turn you play it. And that is just so good. But yeah, I'm really interested to what do they now do with all that card advantage? How do they fight for the tumult, since so far they are still just drawing cards?
This is going to be a war. And I'm really intrigued that Gorang the top Gorang just played that field reinforcements to draw a card. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they have so much cards in their hand already, and they're ahead in their companion expedition. I'm surprised they didn't maybe wait and see if if the other Gorang would have tried to advance on that side, or what the deal with that might be. But I guess card advantage is at the end of the day card advantage, even with 15 cards in your hand.
Yeah. At some point, you are likely to dump your hand, and then you still want the most healthy hand you can have. And there we do see the first unique half a open the gate on a 2/2.
Alright.
So on a 2/2 with a it's a decent one. There we immediately answered by the second unique, and it's a
Wow.
Vishwakarma. I haven't seen that card played in forever, and it's a token generator and just reduces the next
Yeah.
permanent you play. So there's a 1-cost Masected now in hand, basically. And actually, do you at this point just favor playing out the carriers, so you don't care about being ahead or behind on that companion expedition?
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine he just uses the Vishwakarma to play some sort of big landmark, be it a Mesquite or, something else that would be useful for them, just because I don't think they're advancing here. Unless they,
Yeah.
have something that they'd rather play, but other than that, I think it might just be a moot point.
Oh, an Atlas here.
Wow. That was a really nice play. That Atlas is huge. There is that free Mesquite, that basically free Mesquite, the reduction on it is nice. And interesting, the Gurang on the bottom will actually be behind
Oh,
here.
no 1-cost here. I would have thought they still just play out a, what's it called, the Templar, to just still get 2 tokens in that expedition. Yeah, 2 tokens, and then they would have still at least gotten 1 advance. But they just really want to shut off the Masected, it seems.
Yeah. Now it's interesting because now I think the bottom is Kyoin.
Yeah,
Is an advantage. Just because their Magic is online now. Repost isn't really going to be doing much. And we see another unique.
Oh, and this one is drawing cards when you create a token. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And it sleeps itself on play. That is quite cool. That's a Varu unique. So it plays like the bureaucrats from Varu, but of course you need to be behind on the expedition. And it's not a bureaucrat, of course.
And it looks like Kyoing did have the option to give that Benzaiten 2 boost when he put it asleep, but he didn't do it. I'm sure he didn't do it because of license withdrawals playing around that.
Oh yeah. The option to give the slept character 2 boosts is always so nice to have.
Yeah.
There's the Templar.
Is that Aegis Templar?
Draws a card, of course.
This is perfect too because now Choen can actually play that field of reinforcements and try and draw into something, whereas Reposis wouldn't be able to do it again. They have no field modes. There's that license withdraw, probably getting rid of that Magic 10 if I had to guess. I'm really glad that Choen did not put those boosts on Benzaiten because I guaranteed that Benzaiten would be gone.
It's also quite unfortunate because otherwise the Benzaiten would have drawn with them basically 4 cards start of the next turn. And that would have been really, really nice, but still gets the conscription here, draws 3 more cards of Benzaiten, and at least threatens to single advance into Atlas played from reserve here. But yeah, there are still so many options here from hand for Brick Post as well. But the draw battle is, I'd say, now pretty much won by the bottom Gurang.
Yeah. And it looks like the bottom Gurang, it looks like Kyoin does not have any more Magic Tets. They've all been destroyed by Brepost.
Yeah, I mean, they probably just need about 3 more tokens and they just redraw into the Masectets, so it is okay, but yeah, replaying the Masectets can also always hurt a bit. Oh, and
hopefully when they cycle again.
We see another unique here, this time another draw unique from Repost side, but it's just drawing 2 cards, and that compared to the Benzaiten is a lot less.
And it looks like killing the bottom Gurang is going to get another conscription out. So it looks like Choing is just gonna get that double advance.
And I feel like I by now know the game plan of the bottom Gurang. At some point, the bottom Gurang doesn't care about the Masectas anymore. They just want to play character. So they probably want to play Templars from hand to get them into reserve, and then play the conscriptions that just draw them draw into each other over and over again. So they can play like 5 conscriptions a day.
It's a good strategy to have. I'm not not ignoring it. That's a good strategy to have.
They, of course, haven't looped the deck yet, but I think sooner than later they will be able to have their entire hand and deck in hand, and then just can loop those conscriptions over and over again. And that's actually the benefit and a rare benefit that the common has over the rare conscription.
Sometimes commons are just better in many ways than rares, or in some ways in certain decks.
Yeah.
Like the rare license withdrawal is just horrible in Ortis. I've never seen anyone run it when you can just run common for 1 more mana and it's unconditional.
Yeah, that is very true, and actually still plays for the Masected removals. That is quite interesting. But
I'm really interested that Kyoing did play that license withdrawal on the Meziktet when he could use it later on in the turn, in the day, and wait until maybe Brepos draws more cards, does get into that second cycle with their deck, and then destroy it so they don't just draw it again immediately.
Yeah, I feel like it's also just kind of an after use, so you see what the opponent is actually planning on doing, and but currently we don't see a easy way to generate tokens. Well, yeah, there are still Templars, there are still the reinforcements, but currently I don't think there are too many, or at least maximum 1 conscription in hand here for Keown. So yeah, these draw 3 conscriptions with that unique in play, that is quite nice. And I wonder if they do have a resleep for this.
I'm interested to see what Kyoing does with this field reinforcements, because they're still behind or tied in both expeditions, but if they play it, then Brepos just gets that. They have that common staff clerk out that's just going to create more tokens in this expedition. I'm curious to see how they handle that. How Kyoing will handle, playing from reserve, knowing that there is this weapon on the other side that's going to absolutely go crazy on them.
And the answer to conscription is just blank conscription yourself. So there are a ton of tokens now.
Fight fire with fire.
Yeah. But this one is the rare version, so it's just loading up the reserve themselves, so they could have a stronger... That is a interesting card. The Brassberg Hub, I haven't seen that in a while in a deck.
That was an old Gurang list staple. Not much anymore, but that's an old staple.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Back in the Exalted days, for anyone who played on the Exalted client.
I haven't.
It's like a fan-made, fancier version of BGA before BGA was officially supporting.
I think I've seen a bit of those, but I haven't actually played it.
It's fun. They have emotes, which is why people play it.
There's the resleep for that Bensighton, and I feel like there's surely still a conscription left in hand, and if there's 1, there's 2, and that is at least 1 advance for the bottom Gurang.
I'm a little interested.
AWOL plays Rallying Call onto the Bensighton, so it doesn't stay in the expeditions. That is... I did not expect to see a Rallying Call here, but if there's 1 Hypothermia in play in the deck of the Gurang, I bet there's a second one.
I'm curious as to why Kyoing even played the Hypothermia at all. I know he wants that Bensighton around, but he already has such a critical mass of cards in his hand, and now the Staff Clerk was obviously what's going to be the one that was slept. And now there's just more value in the next day for Brepos. That'll be even harder for Kyoing to get around, because License Withdraw doesn't hit it. They need to get something like a Teamwork Training.
The thing why they want to keep the unique around is just that deck looping, and they can
Yeah.
play that conscription over and over again. And actually, they are playing for... Oh, it's enough tokens already to win out on that companion side.
I don't think they have any 1-mana spells, but they will, looks like. And
Yep, draws a few cards.
yep, a few, not too many. I'm worried they might not have enough in hand. It's gonna break my screen, but they could always have more.
Yeah, at some point you just have to scroll out with these decks so you can see your hand again. It's the same with the resupply loop decks. Oh, gets the double advance here with the Templar. So discards a bunch from reserve here, but, well, there are still just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 cards in the reshuffle. Yeah, that's fine.
Killing just needs one more double advance. It is worth noting now that Brepos is behind or tied in both expeditions now, so they do get a double Meziktet trigger here, so they will create those tokens in each of their expeditions.
Yeah, that is true, and they still have that Stuff Clerk, so it might be a bit annoying to play from reserve. And yeah, keeps that Bensighton. Yeah, they still want that Bensighton to just keep playing with the conscriptions. This is such a fun unique. I really like this.
That is really, really interesting.
It
is worth noting that it can't be slept anymore by its own ability because Kyoi's hero expedition is not behind.
That is true. At this point, probably doesn't care about that too much anymore. No. But yeah. That Braspa Cup, I still don't quite understand why it's in the list, but at least it's creating a 3/3.
I'm sure there's maybe a unique... I think there's one unique we haven't seen from Kyoin that potentially could be a reason. Maybe they care about multiple landmarks.
I think we've seen only 2 of each of these pairs here so far. Oh, there's another interesting card in that Armored Jammer. Okay. Now plays for card advantage. Or is it limiting the...
Really, really interesting.
Yeah.
There's that field reinforcement. It's going to draw and create a token for Brepost.
There's so many cards in the discard here for Brepost. So, yeah. Kyoin has double the amount of cards in hand.
Oh, interesting. So here's that Meziktet. So at Dusk, when they're going to have to discard down to just 2 landmarks, they're probably getting rid of that Armored Jammer that's just going to get a free sabotage.
Yeah.
Oh, and there goes that Benzighton.
Maybe just plays a second Meziktet here as well, so they have the strongest possible next turn. And then just want to win the 2-for-1 or the 2-0 next turn.
I'm interested if maybe that Order Spy wasn't the right play at that moment. It depends. I know Kyoin did have that 5 mana, but I don't know if it would have been the best time to play that Benzighton because he couldn't have slept it and he couldn't keep cycling through. It would incrementally draw more cards, but it would just be a body because it would use up all his mana. That way, Brepos could have played a conscription, and then when he starts the next day, could have just sabotaged it then.
Yeah, I think the worry right now is just more about slow playing without losing too many cards. And another Armored Jammer. So really heavy on sabotaging everything, and now having that lead next turn with... Yeah, they do have Meziktet plus Braspa Hub startup, so they are ahead on stats for going into the next turn. And Brepos just has way less cards available to them. Half the amount of cards in hand and no reserve most likely. Oh, and there's the last unique. A draw 3 from anywhere. Yeah.
Decent.
Yeah, decent.
It does get him back. And now, actually, that is true. If Kyoin does get that Benzighton and keeps cycling, that'll trigger Quetzal, and Quetzal will be able to draw more
Yep.
cards just from his own ability, and will also be creating more tokens. Looks like he just gets rid of the Quetzal, or it looks like Joey just sabotages that Quetzal, gets it out of there.
Oh, and actually, I think if this was turn order, so if Bripos here went first, they were left with 0 cards in reserve because they need to get rid of their cards in reserve and landmark slots first, and then the bottom Gurang gets to discard their jammers, and therefore the jammers get to discard 2 cards in reserve, and then Gurang's left with no cards. But here,
that was really interesting, shutting off that value.
no, okay. Oh, they. Huh? Okay, so okay, still gets rid of all cards in reserve. I did not expect that. Okay, interesting.
They did still have the Monolith Legate.
Yeah, I think the Monolith Legate was the first sabotage that went after the Quetzalcoatl.
Right.
And then the other 2 just still went after the Gurung discarded, which I did really not expect.
Oh, that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So it's just 10 cards to 15 cards here, starting off this day. And who has the better cards in hand here? I think there's still one unique that we haven't seen yet from Kyoin.
Yes.
That might help them. And I think at this point, probably some token generators are the best.
I'm thinking maybe they don't have a third unique. I've been seeing a lot of decks recently that just run 1 or 2 uniques and just throw everything else, more rares into the mix.
I would
it's
definitely
not always common, but
I would definitely expect players with these names to have 3 uniques in their deck.
Yeah, I would hope so.
There's the Vishwakarma again. So
that's what we saw from earlier.
Yeah. Another 1 mana Masaktet. Plus it's a token generator.
Maybe Armor Jammer.
Yeah. That is a really nice slow play, and this one is also a token generator, so yeah.
You were right, it is that Masaktet.
Yeah.
Brepos does only need 1 advance. My question is, do they just go all in on 1 expedition?
I mean, they only need 1.
Yeah. The Vishwakarma does create tokens in target expedition, so it doesn't really matter where he puts it. It's going to be creating tokens regardless wherever he chooses. So if Brepos does decide to go heavy on one side, and Killing just creates more and more, tokens, then he can kind of just pick what side he wants to put it on, hopefully stall him out, and maybe advance on the side Brepos isn't committing on.
Yeah, and also has that mana advantage for now, so can slow play and see what's the plan for Kyoin for this turn. So that is positive for Brepos here, but yeah, going up against these token generators that just put tokens on either side might be really scary.
I'm curious to see if they happen to go into overtime. It's not always likely, but going into overtime with 2 Masaktats is essentially game over right there.
I mean, it's 2 Masaktats to 1 Masaktat, so they start off with similar stats, but yeah, just now using the mana advantage they have to slow play and just play out probably 2 rallying cards to see what Kyoin is planning on doing here. Gets another field reinforcements to put out recruits, but I think that's not really solving a lot of problems here for them.
It is spinning the wheels a little bit more. It's drawing them more cards, creating them some tokens, but you know what? I think they're just looking to build up as much of a reserve as possible and then get in those conscriptions, which I'm certain they have in their hand. Because I'm sure they have, 4 mana, 2 conscriptions. That maths.
Yeah, but these conscriptions will likely just be answered by conscriptions from Breprost, and they only need to contest 1 expedition, so yeah, it's looking rough.
This is an interesting spot to be in for Kyoin. really interesting. I know Killing does have that Vishwa requirement that they've been using to, good value for with the Meziktats, playing them for essentially 1 mana. But I don't think we've really even seen him use it in the form of much of a token spawner because they have so many token creating effects. They don't really play a ton of characters.
Yeah, I in general think there aren't a lot of characters in these Gurang type of lists. So there are definitely the Legates and the Attorneys and also the Aegis Templars, but I think there aren't much more. The rest might just be all spells and permanents. And by now, I managed to influence the chat enough that they are now also looking at the time and saying that repost is down on time. And yeah, that is really true. But I think it won't come down to time this game around, since there probably is one play left for bottom Gurang, and then the game should kind of be over with 2 or 3 more cards from repost here. And yeah,
there's that conscription. But let's see what Brepos has. I'm interested to see how he's going to win this one. I know Killing is in a good position, but with all that mana up, again, like you said, just answer conscription with conscription.
Yeah, it's basically 0 stats, right? Oh, but they don't have it yet?
Oh, wow.
So this might come down to what's left.
They do still have 5.
One's conscription. That is 8 stats. And another would be 10 stats.
It looks like Brepost has just put in the chat GG. So
okay, yeah.
Yep.
That is 10 stats total for 2 mana. That is so much stats.
That's really close. I don't know. Yeah, they just put it right over there, and that's game right there.
Yeah. Hello, Chili.
22 stats all around, and they do Expedition by Brepost. Someone take a picture of this. Someone screenshot this. It's a moment in history.
Yeah, surely. What's the most amount of stats you've seen on a Hydracana so far?
On a Hydracana? I think it was... Oh, jeez. I think it was like 20.
Okay.
It was in my Tumult Championship.
Oh,
and I played against a Hydracana Tasia deck, and they were at like... It was a 20-20-20 Hydracana. Just as he was about to win, we were tied, and I just likes to withdraw it, and he's like, "Yep, I've got nothing else."
Okay, for me it's a lot bigger. It's I think at 67 or something like that.
Wow, 67 on a Hydracana.
Yeah, that was due to a bunch of on one side it's celebration days, and the other is just doubling the boosts on a character.
Notably, doubling boost is generally pretty good.
Yeah.
What other games we've got going on? That was a great one. I'm glad we got to see that Gurang versus Gurang matchup.
Yeah, there are probably not many games left, since I think there are 3 minutes total for the round time to be over. I see table 16, still Caballo against Just Toop. Just BTB, just.
Just a BBTV.
Yeah. It's another Gurang. A lot of Gurang so far.
Hey, I picked a good day to cast.
Yeah, apparently so.
The Toth uniques are really interesting. I've played a Gurang list that use Toth uniques, and they're nice, but I feel like banking on not advancing in the late game is just really a painful way to play, especially if you need a really big, character spell at that moment, and you kind of get something that just wants you to not advance.
Yeah.
This one does have an open the gates effect attached to it when you play it from hand, which is
Yeah,
definitely
that's
great.
especially in the focus, that is quite crazy.
Oh yeah, with no conditions other than you have to play it from your hand.
Yeah, that is actually crazy. And Traced now looking to probably resupply as much as possible so they can slow play. And they do now have a really nice Nancy in reserve. Gets 1 boost for each card in each player's reserve is a ton, especially into a Gurang. But Gurang gets conscription to get equal amounts of stats on a single card.
Interesting. I'm wondering if the Gurang is gonna try and either draw into something with that, Conjure Shield to try and sabotage that Anansi, or maybe make him play it to waste the mana, and then just remove the Anansi with a Teamwork Training or a License Withdrawal once he's already played it and wasted that mana and wasted that turn.
Yeah, out slow playing a Traced oftentimes really tricky, but
Yeah.
there are currently no resupply effects that we see, so maybe that's just 4 cards left here for the Traced, and that's it. But yeah, it can be very scary to play against late game Traced, and I said it's only 3 minutes left, and that is around time, so I think the Gurun actually still won on time. Yeah, players now seemingly complaining about the timer, just playing too slow.
Thank you very much, Heroes Guide. I am glad to be a part of the casting team. I appreciate the warm welcome. And for Agent, I mean, getting up to 47 stats on any expedition is always insane. And looks like, wow, Heroes got 67 stats.
No,
that's something to see.
That was me. I think they were impressed about the Hydra that I played against.
Oh, I was gonna say 67 is. I'm like, that's kind of funny that it was exactly the same as yours, but that's crazy. But 47 too? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think I saw another match. Yeah, we have our other match starting.
Yeah, so we are now in round 3 of week 7 of the Altered Weekly Online League, and we can now pick and choose a table that we like. Do you have players in mind that you still want to take a look at, or should I pick?
I've picked enough. I think I'll let you pick this round. I'll give you this one.
Okay, we have seen there's another team match of Altered Aces that I again really want to see. It's this time Techfire against Tempet, so I think that is an Afanas mirror matchup, and I've before said Afanas mirror matches are boring, even though I always think that watching Tempet is super cool. But yeah, maybe let's still just go to different tables.
Yeah.
And everywhere every table I look at there are just some team names on there. Maybe let's go to table 39. Gam in the Box against Popiet, and I think Popiet currently being the leader on the leaderboard for
awesome.
Altered. And most likely Traced, and yes, it is Traced against Nevenka.
Nevenka, wow.
Both of these kind of, actually the Nevenka does play like the more aggressive hero in the early game. They just get a ton of stats with the Nevenka rolls, and oftentimes just have 1 cost into 2 cost opener, so yeah, they get a ton of stats and quite consistent 2-0s into slower decks. But yeah, this Traced can kind of match that, and they do get a 2-for-2 on day 1. Super crazy start. But yeah,
it's crazy, but it does happen.
Yeah, currently it looks a bit better for the Nevenka side, since they get the Incaster trait over the elemental, Killer Elemental, and yeah, that's just 1 clean card more in hand.
And getting that Martingale back to hand is huge because it basically guarantees that Nevenka, unless they want to roll a 1, that they're not going to roll a 1 and get their character sent to reserve and just, lose the day after that.
Yeah, and looking into Poppyet games, it's always interesting. I'm not sure which type of list Poppyet is on. For me, Poppyet is known for the almost infinite orders that just spawn tokens when a card goes from deck or hand to reserve. And that is really a deck that's reliant on the Ouroboros Bastion. But I have a feeling this might be more of the Haven setup, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, seeing Killan Elemental and Walrus Scout, I think this is more of the tempo version.
Yeah, Haven Trust decks are really, really interesting. They've definitely gotten a little worse since they were nerfed, but I still think obviously it's a very strong deck. If you have things that care about, when you can just keep cycling and keep resupplying. If your cards that trigger enters effects, you just keep resupplying, filling up your reserve, and then like we've seen, just play a crazy Nazi unique, and then just from there keep cycling that, and it's basically a rinse and repeat. That's pretty hard to get over. Anansi is a very rough one for a lot of decks if you can't remove it.
Thoughts on changing Martingale to plus or minus 1 on the roll? So you can... I think the card is strong enough, it doesn't need a buff. I think rolling that 6... there needs to be a low roll on Martingale. All about making Martingale even better. Okay, cool.
You could technically roll a 0 in that case.
Yeah, that is true.
It'd be interesting if there was another card. Martingale cares about adding numbers to rolls, and there would be another card that cares about losing counters or numbers to rolls.
I think that might not happen, since Nevenka is saying if you roll a 1, and yeah, I think then getting to a 0 roll, I think that's not happening. But maybe. We never know.
The 0 roll is not exactly what you want, but Nevenka, sometimes you want to roll the 1. I have a friend who I play with who's a huge Nevenka player, and sometimes he actively wants to roll a 1 to get a benefit from playing from reserve, to get that quick effect from reserve. I mean, it's a weird strategy, but sometimes it works. He's used it to great effect, and he has crushed me numerous times by using those, using it as an effect to send it to reserve and then play it with a boost, like the Haven Serengars, which can, get fleeting, get a boost from reserve, and then they'll draw you a card.
Yeah. And already the Nevenka is so fast. It's day 3 now, and they have advanced 4 times already. I'm not looking to slow down anytime soon. Having so many stats already here in play. And Trace now only 2 counters on that hero ability, so they are looking for more resupplies. At least they get 1 card into reserve with that frozen delivery. Oh, and interesting, Nevenka doesn't even want to play for the 2-0 here, and just says, well, I just need the 1-0, and if I just keep trading expeditions, I win. So yeah, that's what they're doing.
I think they're trying to keep some extra cards in their hand too, because Tress does have a little bit more advantages than them right now. But as soon as Tress does
play same side here.
Maybe he's got something in his hand, maybe removal or something along the likes of that.
I don't actually think there's any removal in these Trace lists that play for tempo. I think the only pseudo removal that we've seen recently is that Hooked that draws a card additionally, and yeah, they still have that Hooked. And that's why it was played same side, so you can actually hook your own Amelia and draw a card.
There we go. I mean, Trust does have the card advantage right now, but he's 2 scrap counted from being online, which, based on what he has, the 2 cards in reserve, that's entirely possible.
Oh, and I think the Nevenka I don't understand French, but I think the Nevenka was trying to play around hooked by playing both characters same side. And of course, then Trace can match that and hook their own character out of that expedition. And yeah, there was actually quite a smart play by Puppet.
Misplays do happen. I mean, sometimes predicting what your opponent's going to do is very, very difficult.
I think
I don't blame the Nevenka player at all.
I think there wasn't a misplay at all, since it's the same outcome. Yeah. They just didn't expect that the Trace could do that, I think. But yeah, this reserve doesn't look the greatest here from Trace. It's saying, well, I want to trade expeditions and just set up my hero ability. But yeah, if you're trading, you're not getting back on the tumult, and you are slowly but eventually losing. So probably looking to get the biggest card advantage they can get this turn. Hopefully set up some permanents and trade 1-for-1 and look for the 2-1 or 2-0 next turn.
Yeah. They did get a Nazi into reserve, which is going to be really, really nice. But now Nevenka does know about that hooked in reserve, so it's something she can try and play around a little bit more if the Tress even does decide to use it. But Tress is just one scrap counter away from being online, and from there it's going to be a little bit more difficult to come back, because he will be getting just that incremental value each turn, drawing a card and putting it in reserve. And he can get things that have benefits from playing from reserve. Or he can get landmarks that care about playing from reserve, like havens. And from there, I mean, Nevenka is one double advance away from winning. So I'm interested to see how Tress does this. But most of Nevenka's hand is known. She only has one card in her hand. Then the rest of her value is just in her reserve. So it's pretty open for Tress to kind of judge how he's going to play this.
Yeah, and then making the accurate call that you don't lose to that one card in hand. Oftentimes that can be quite difficult to find, but currently you would expect that the Nevenka can only play 2 more cards. So yeah, I'd say as Trace you can pretty much plan around that and look what to play. And there we see the first Trace unique, I think, and the second one following. And it's from hand, putting a card into reserve to resupply, and the other one is from anywhere, put a card on reserve to resupply. Super, super sweet. The only negative thing I have to say about these, well, why is one of them just from hand Puppet, and why is it on a Salvager? One of your best rare slots. But yeah, these are still super, super sweet, of course.
They're really great uniques, but I mean, yeah, I think they'd just be better off as using their common version, save the unique with that really big effect, like on a non-C.
I think this might be one of the best traced effects on a unique, since you're just activating your heroes so much faster and you're getting so much resources. And especially with that old Haven, it was super, super good because you were getting the Haven benefit on every single card you put into your reserve. But I do still think that these are probably one of the greatest uniques for traced, and still they before this Anansi didn't really look too threatening, and now there are already 3 cards in reserve, so that Anansi is a lot more threatening now.
Anything that fuels an Anansi in an Axiom deck is always powerful. And like you said, the common Axiom Salvagers are so good in Axiom decks, just in general, as a slot filler. But these decks, like you said, they just power Tress so hard, and they go so well with Anansis that it looks like it might be just what this Tress needed to hopefully not lose right here. I know Nevenka does have the Martingale for 1.
Yeah, plays out that Anansi already, and that I think says, well, it's just a 1-for-1, and I think there's not really a lot that Nevenka can do about this. Just plays out that Martingale to hopefully get a 6 roll, I'd say. But yeah, Trace just tries to get the best card into hand and reserve as possible to set up for the next day. And yeah, also going second on the final day always feels much nicer, so you can react to your opponent so much better.
This is really interesting, because if he wanted to, he could discard. That's interesting. This Tress could discard his Axiom Salvager. to its effect. And then he could play the Foundry Mechanic for free or the Sap Sniff for free and then play the other one. Well, I'm not sure if that's that's probably not what he's going to do. But there's an interesting line there he could have maybe tried, but I don't think it would have been very fruitful, especially with that roll from Nevenka.
Oh, roll's a run, but yeah, of course, there's still Martingale on the board. So it's not really a run roll. And oh, interesting, they were trying to roll for that Esmeralda, so if they have gotten that anchor, they had one less play the following day. And I'm not sure that's the greatest at this point. It's the...
This trust does have to discard now.
Probably discards one of the salvagers and the hooked, yeah.
Interesting.
But it's so painful for Trace to still not have found a single permanent at this point. Last time, if they had the Haven, they could have just at the point where the day was definitely a trade, they could have still discarded their Foundry Mechanic and still played out that Haven, but not finding that at all so far. That is quite painful.
Yeah, I mean, those landmarks, especially those Havens, are a key piece in any Axiom deck, especially for Trace. So not having seen any of them is really, really hurting this game plan here. They're not getting the boost, they're not getting the resupplies they need. Anything that cares about, enters effects from permanents don't matter. I'm sure a lot of turbo Tress decks like this do run mechanical training to get those continual resupplies from Havens. So not even being able to see a Haven at all is a huge deal for this and could, potentially be a deal breaker.
Yeah, now plays the Salvager to resupply more cards, gets another slow play. It's not doing
Frankenstein.
It's not doing a ton this frozen delivery here so far. The Frankenstein, of course, is really, really nice, and especially if they now find a cylinder this day, this Frankenstein looks even better. But yeah, otherwise, not the most stats so far that we see from the Traced side.
Does Cylinder have an enters effect, or
Yes.
is it just you have to tap it with the?
It's so most of the Traced are playing. I think I haven't seen the common one, only the rare version, and the rare version is giving a boost on play.
Okay.
And then the Frankenstein is technically a 4/4.
Maybe he does try and up.
Oh, that is expensive cloth cocooning onto a 1/01.
That's really interesting. I mean, there must have been literally nothing else to do.
Yeah, still gets one more roll, so gets up to 5/5 in the expedition. But we already see an answer for Traced. That gets enough stats. There's only one boost missing. And
Trace
I think
just
that's
wins it right here then. Wow.
Yeah.
That's game. Wow. The Nevenka was in such a commanding lead for a while, but as soon as Tress got that 5th scrap counter, they just took off at the gates.
Yeah, that's the strength of just resupplying a card every turn. And also, yeah, I think it's pretty much every turn, not only of the hero ability, also just of all of the cards that just resupply. It's really hard to deal with the amount of cards that Traced has at this stage of the game. Hello, Keelon, and hello, hello, Roscat.
Yeah, man, unfortunately there's not even much the Nevenka player can do. That's just game right there. But boy, was that a good game to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Keelan, what have you been doing on the official Discord? What sins have been committed there again? He's always complaining that he shouldn't go on there because there are a lot of uninformed takes that he just disagrees with.
An uninformed take. What's my worst uninformed take that would send Keelan flying? Atsadian Surge was never that good. He just
Okay.
was a surprise deck that no one expected. How's that for a hot take? An uninformed hot take.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. I mean, Atsadi is I think currently is looking quite good.
He is pretty good. He was a huge surprise, but he's definitely mellowed out a lot since people realized, okay, took the game by surprise. Now there's a little bit more balance with him. He's not seen literally everywhere as much anymore because people know a little bit more how to deal with him.
Let's go to table 37, maybe.
Table 37.
Oh, a Greek player. Interesting. We don't get to see too many Greek players on Altered. I think there are. If I'm thinking about Greek players, there's Arc Visitor that's coming to mind, and not too many others. But yeah, it's good to see.
It's always good to see people from all around the globe loving Altered as much as the next person. It's a great game, so sharing that with everyone else is the goal, is the dream. That's what I love about the game. Everyone can get into it, and everyone can love it just as much as the next person, and just enjoy it and meet new people and have good experiences playing the game.
Today Cole told a balanced complainer to get good on general chat. Okay, that is indeed quite funny.
There's a skill difference.
Yeah. Just get good.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of unique Flamels here.
Flamel is great as a common, but I think having him as a unique there are some Flamel uniques that are absolutely crazy, especially, or it would be a rare actually in Lyra.
Yeah.
Wow, it looks like.
Actually, going into tiebreaker here.
Yeah, wow.
Quite even on cards. There's one Harvester more in the Tumult and one more card in reserve for the Afanas side. But actually just still resupply, so Afanas is only up one Spindle Harvester in play and one Nylum in play. Otherwise, quite tight.
I mean, yeah, but having that 4 stat and Mountain is going to be really big here.
Yeah.
Because that's going to start Afanas right out of the gates.
I would also
got the...
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, he also has those 2 Moth to a Flames. One of them's going to get sabotaged, but he's going to replace it with another one, which I think is interesting.
That is quite funny, yeah. Oh, and that gets to trigger the Nylum. Wait, why does that get to... Oh, they get to Exhausted Resupply. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But they would have most likely had the Nylum trigger anyway. And the fan is quite confused to why the Nylum trigger there.
Because it's the hero that's exhausted resupplying, and it's just whenever you exhaust a card. Because it comes in ready, and then you have to exhaust it when it goes into your reserve and to resupply. It's part of the whole trigger step. Interesting. Still that Moth to a Flame as well, which... Moth to a Flame, Magical Training, I'm sure that Afanas going to have some more sneaky stuff to pull out of here as well. It looks like the Fen, again, like you were saying, was not expecting that that's how it was going to work. Otherwise, I don't think they would have done that.
I think they're still playing that mouse and limiting the options for Afanas. So I would expect that the Afanas at this point has a way to trigger the Nylum. So I think just resupplying for them or triggering the Nylum for them doesn't make the biggest difference, but of course it could make a tiny difference. And yeah, still has that Twinkle Twinkle to sleep characters here and doesn't have a ton of stats in play. So yeah, it's not looking too good here for the Afana, for the fan side. And yeah, there would have been the exhaust anyway. So yeah.
Interesting. I'm surprised that the Afanas didn't take that exhausted Moth to a Flame so he could play it and then just play the other Moth to a Flame.
They pretty much just want to play cheap cards at this point, and I think, Beauty Sleep,
I don't blame them for.
Beauty Sleep also just winning the game on the spot here.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing Afanas win always great, always very unexpected, and yeah. So that might take us into the next round already. I'm not too sure yet. We have to check the tournament bracket once again. But one table at least still running. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, still a bunch of tables left running. I think if it's keeping the pace on 5 minutes overtime per game, it's 11 minutes still left in this round. Or is it? Yeah. But I don't think there are actually still 11 minutes to be played in round 3. So yeah, let's see how fast this times out. Let's go to table 13, Techfire against Tempeta Lanesh. I need to see some Tempet gameplay here.
Let's check him out. Let's see how Techfire is doing.
Yeah.
Afanas versus Afanas.
It is an even game, but there's now that Evanescence removing a unique. Oh, and that's returning a card, and returning a card this time actually gets to return a Mage Dancer. But do you really want to return your Mage Dancers at this point? You just make them more expensive.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, having that recurable card draw and things that you don't have to worry about getting sabotaged is always a big benefit.
Yeah, that is true.
But, you know, a 1-mana 1/1/1 is not something to scoff at.
Especially if it's not just a 1/1/1, but getting a boost whenever you play a spell. And also drawing your cards at dusk. Yeah, for me, Mage Dancer is still probably one of the, if not the best rare card. It's just doing so many things in one card. It's a really good stat body. It's drawing your card and it's an after you. So yeah, I hate playing against that card.
Yeah, it is no business being as good as it is.
Yeah, but there are a ton of rare cards that are super strong. We can think about Harvester, the Spindle Harvester, and also Aloe Vera. They are also just so good. Or the Incaster. I've definitely heard Keelan complain about Incasters before, or saying that they are so good for compared to other cards. I think complain. Maybe I think I haven't heard them complain, but yeah. Yeah, Keelan are always rooting against Tempeti. We do have. We both know the Altered Aces roster quite well, and also know the Afanas players, and I'm always rooting for Tempeta Lanesh, but the Keelan, I think, always rooting for Marjorie or Techfire. But yeah, Altered Aces has so many different Afanas players. There's still Wesh that sometimes plays Afanas. Most main deck is, of course, for him Lindaway, and I think Matu also playing a lot of Afanas. But I think it's also not quite the main deck. But if it comes to competitive decks, I think most of these just really like either Afanas or Sigismar.
I mean, they're both classic heroes. You can't go wrong with either of them.
Yeah.
They both get so much incremental value throughout a game that they can be so hard to beat.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because Techfire is at a little bit of a disadvantage here, especially now that that's slapped. I mean, if Temped can at least get a single advance off here, that's going to be huge. There's no way Techfire doesn't have some sort of removal. I know we just got that sabotage, but I'm sure there's something else going on here. That sleight of hand.
Now I see why Keelan likes Techfire so much, or always thinks about Techfire, because it was their AWOL Invitational 1 semifinals opponents, and yeah.
Bit of a grudge there. I understand that.
No, it's no grudge. He won the game, and the entire invitational.
Oh, he won.
Yeah. Just keeping the opponents in mind, and I think the final on the invitational 1 was Keelan against Frenica Rico, and
okay.
I think a few weeks or month after that, Franico actually also joined us on AQZ.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, then there's no grudge to be had, but maybe a little boasting on the side of Keelan is deserved.
Oh, and still one BB sleep here for Techfire, so gets to sleep that Harvester. And that is now, if there's... Oh, there could still be an answer here for... Oh yes, that gets to Rhyme Frost. So there now kind of needs to be... Off you go? Or another Beauty Sleep? Oh, and also, there's still not the Wither Tree that's tapped. Oh, still doing the actions. Never mind. Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say, does he maybe wait? I know it's not like the most optimal play, but do you think he was waiting to maybe do the tree to see if there was that removal, that off you go, that would get rid of it, that would allow it to not be replayed? There's another Beauty Sleep.
Yeah, but I think that's already losing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Tempet so good on these Afanas mirrors.
Yeah.
So much sleeping. Yeah, that is true. I have resurrected. Yeah. Welcome back, Potato.
Yeah. A little close for my liking, but...
Oh, Potato, you don't have a 39 cards entry yet? Oh. That is unfortunate. I think Cole was happy recently to get the second 39 cards entry for them.
Tempet gets that win. I love that.
Yeah.
I always love a good mirror matchup. It's really interesting to see, how different players play or how they pilot the same deck, the same hero. What, other cards they add, what uniques they choose to play. It really reflects their own play style, and it really just speaks to the diversity of players in Altered.
Yeah. The start of next round, I might need to go for a couple of for like 5 minutes, but and you'll have to cast that solo. But yeah, then I should be back.
Absolutely,
but
no worries.
For now, we are still in round 3, and I see 2 tables still left running. So let's go to table. What's it? Table 20. Popeye against Magnus Mellon.
Let's check it out.
Popeye, being the champion of the first World's Champion qualifier and winning in Zoetermeer, I think it was, in the Netherlands. And yeah. Now here, switching heroes to Traced for today, instead of that typical Sigismar that I at least know from Popeye. And yeah. Cow just got back on the tumult and now looking hopefully strong to win the game, but let's see what actually happens. I think there are 3 more minutes left in this round until it times out. So yeah, the BGA keeps going with 35-minute rounds.
And it looks like they both have hooks in reserve. But Popeye does have, like you said, those 2 cylinders, which could be really, really big and helping him get a little bit over maybe some of the cards that Mellon might try and play. So he doesn't have to worry too much about stats and just kind of go.
Oh, that's not a resupply you want to see.
Wow. He could always draw a card with it, but that still hurts to have to get your removal A shown like that and B just not get what you want.
And immediately gets the answer for the Haven, the Grems. And yeah, Grems in this matchup are super nice. They can either discard the opponent's permanents or sack your own to just get a ton of stats onto the board. And yeah.
I mean, Grems is just such a good piece of removal. It's so versatile. It can either give you an advantage, it can set back your opponents, but it's on a body too. It's removal on a body. So no matter what, you're getting stats on the board, and there's always the upside of removing something of your opponents or getting even more advantage.
Puts a Frankenstein into reserve here. That's trying to trade the game, I feel like. Sap Sniffer, slow playing.
Oh, wow.
But there's currently no way to get cards into reserve for either of these trades. And actually the Grams here just denying that resupply of the Frankenstein is really, really good.
Oh, yeah. Being able to get that brass bug, too, off of that bug out bag.
Oh, true. Still, yeah, that is still in play here, so that can be targeted by the Frankenstein. I totally forgot that. Hooks the Loveless out of the expedition and then hooks it straight back in. That is quite funny. Now we see that Frankenstein that gets an additional brass bug, but goes same side here. That's not even trying to take the double advance here.
I don't know if he's trying to play it safe. Oh, I know. He's probably going to swap one of them with Hooked, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's going to play from hand here.
And there's a maximum timer reached. I said only 3 minutes left. Play faster. And we are now going into round 4 of the week 7 AWOL Monday. And yeah. Right. Do you have a table that you want to take a look at?
Do I have a table? Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see who's even playing.
I think last game I forgot to change scenes. Yeah, that was the yeah, perfect.
Our voices are soothing.
I'm so sorry. That's yeah. I'm really yeah. I just forget that always. Yeah, I'm sorry. I maybe shouldn't change scenes at this point.
It's always hard keeping track of stuff like that. Yeah. I know no one faults you for it. Looks like table 20 is in progress. We have two players against each other. We have Laplanche and Moose. That looks like it might be an interesting one.
Sure, and they are team players. Already in game, so we are now waiting for mana decisions, but yeah, okay. There we are, and leaving for a few minutes, but yeah, I should be back in around, hopefully maximum 3 to 4 minutes.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I'll keep watching this game and seeing what interesting things we've got going on.
Yeah.
All right. Basir against Fen is definitely going to be an interesting one, because Basir is going to want to go right out of the gates as fast as possible, I'd imagine, and then the Fen's going to want to play a bit of a longer game, getting more of that incremental value with the resupplies, with things like the aloe vera, which she does have. She didn't hold it that extra turn to pay the extra one to give it anchored, but I don't think that really matters at all, because it gives her the advance, and she goes first next time, so she can always use her turn to play the aloe vera and then anchor it if she so chooses. But just having that option is always good to get that resupply, especially in a Fen deck that just wants to see as many cards as physically possible. Rune does have a smooth TJ voice. Unfortunately, I'm not quite at his level yet, but with a little practice, I'll get there. Just give me a little bit of time. Let me adjust. And I'm sure with everyone's support, I'll have a voice as smooth as butter. It looks like from Fen we just got Little Mouse. I'm interested to see. Yeah, I was gonna say she probably doesn't use it here. I don't think using it on a Kieran is the best option. It does shut the Basira off for a turn from reserve, forcing her to play from hand, but I don't think that's gonna be a big deal. I think going after that Haven Sarengar will be much better. Basira is normally just starved for resources because you play such a quick game. So being able to deny that card draw by the Fen would be really, really nice. It'll get an exhausted resupply, but it's a card that the Basir won't be able to play that turn. And overall, I think that'll just be a huge, huge boon for that Fen. But Basir is getting that double advance. My question is, do we even have time? Does this Fen even have time to really play that long game if Basir is going to keep going this fast? We'll probably have to see what the Fen resupplies off this aloe vera and hopefully just go from there and see how she handles it. Interesting. Still waiting. Oh wow. It looks like she resupplied an Incaster and then a magical training as well. If she can get that magical training back to her hand, that's obviously ideal. I think the best thing to do here is play that little mouse to get rid of that Haven Sarangard, cut off the Basir from drawing cards if, you know, she can manage to do that. Because the Basir is going first here. She just plays that Sarangard, then the little mouse is not going to be doing much. But having the Incaster is huge in a Fen deck. Just keep recurring cards and not have to worry about fleeting or have to worry about them being sabotaged by having them sit in reserve.
I am back. It just opened the window, so if it starts raining again, and you can hear it on if you can hear it, just tell
the
me.
Little mouse isn't going to be doing much here.
Oh, I also muted myself on video.
For what's worth, Basira is also up 1 mana, and normally 2 mana is a sweet spot for Basira because she likes to play a lot of low, 2-3 cost characters that can get her value and hopefully get a few boosts along the way to give her the upper hand against her opponents. Because having that 1 extra boost can really make or break a game.
Okay, I'm back. This time you should be able to hear me. Perfect.
All right.
I didn't realize I was muting myself on Discord as well. But yeah. So I also opened the window, so if you start hearing the rain in the background, you can tell me, and I'll just close the window again.
No worries. But it's good to have you back.
Yeah, so solo casting can be quite difficult when you're expecting to have someone else to talk about the games with. And the Dwarf could here quite nice, getting rid of a card, but you're still going down on cards so far, so currently not looking the greatest when it comes to cards for the Basira side.
Yeah, I mean, I was just telling the viewers as well. Basira is going to play that really, really quick game, and she's going to run out of resources really fast.
Yeah.
And Fen's going to want to play that long game to hopefully get that value over time. And Basira came out really strong. She was advancing very quickly, leaving Fen in the dust. And now it's looking like Fen might have the upper hand here.
Yeah, starts to recover this, and now I think this discarding decision here is also quite interesting. I think there's no use for the mouse, so probably not keeping that around, and you really want to cycle your magical trainings, but keeping Hathor plus magical training, so basically no reserve for the following day. Doesn't feel the greatest, but you just really want to cycle that magical training.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure how I feel about that, but I mean, Fen can have an issue sometimes with getting enough cards in her hand, because she has so many resupply effects that having that magical training you can cycle that can draw you more cards into your hand is always going to be something Fen wants.
Yeah, and resupplying the Twinkle Twinkle is also really nice, not for the Twinkle Twinkle effect, but for the discard, and you always really want to have these cost reductions in your reserve that they just make the game so much easier.
I mean, cost reducer, very, very powerful. Speaking of very powerful, we just saw that Akla come down from Basira that's going to exhaust most likely both cards in Fen's reserve, completely shutting her off, not being able to use that cost reduction discard effect on the Twinkle Twinkle that you were just talking about.
Yeah, and the good thing about Akla is it's also just not really heavy investment on your own card advantage. You just play that 1 card and are quite likely to just get a single advance here, and you just this time around you also just force the Fen to play cards and overload their own reserve, so that's quite nice. And yeah, the Aklut just looking quite nice right now for the Basira.
It's even more difficult too for this Fen, just because Basir's going first on the next day, and she's going to be able to exhaust 2 cards with that AWOL, which I assume she'll be playing right off the rip.
Yeah, and at least there are 4 cards in reserve for Fen, so only 2 cards that can be exhausted of the immediate play from the Aklut. That's why the Havens do get really nice with Basira into Fen, because you can then just triple or sometimes even quadruple exhaust the Fen at the start of turn. And that gets super, super painful super quickly.
We did just see an acapella training resupplied by the Fen. It's not bad if Basir does play something from her hand, but again, with 2 cards getting exhausted right away, it basically means Basir gets to choose how the next turn is going to play out. Because if she can double advance here, then that's obviously just going to be game here, and Basir will take it home if she's able to do that. Looks like she chose to get rid of that Anansi and the Twinkle Twinkle, which is a good play here. It looks like that the Basir is just going to try and get that Spirit Wielder out. Hopefully get a few more characters with the boost and just hopefully overwhelm this Fen and try and eke out a win. Depends what Fen has in her hand, but with only drawing 1 card a turn, aside from, you know, magical trainings and stuff like that, it's not always likely. There could be a Cloth Cocoon to get rid of the Aklut.
We had Cloth Cocoon here. Also, Anansi, I think, is outstudying that Aklut. And also, Twinkle Twinkles, of course, super good in this spot. And we do see another unique here coming out. It's a Kappa that is just sabotaging if you control a landmark, though. And there's no landmarks yet in play.
It's just a body at this point.
Yeah.
So whatever's in this Basira's hand is probably not what they're looking for. Wow.
Is there now a 1 cost in hand for Fen? Do they have that martingale in hand to win the game? They don't need the martingale, it's just an Anansi.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, super strong hand
take
at
it
the
home.
end. Probably some of the best cards to have in that spot. Or that at that point in the game. That was really, really impressive.
With that Twinkle Twinkle having been exhausted, I'm sure the Basir at least a little bit safe, but having drawn that second one and being able to play and then the Anansi was just too much to overcome.
Compared to the other games we've seen so far today, that was really, really quick.
Yeah.
So we can now still take a look at another game. Let's go to table 25, Caleb against Takeo-chan. And it is once again Traced and Afanas.
Right.
This time the Afanas is already quite far ahead, and Traced has to claw their way back into this, but has more cards at least available to them. Oh no, this could already be game here.
It looks like it might be if Afanas has any character to play. It looks like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not yet quite game, but still Afanas in a pretty good spot, only needing 1 expedition and having 2 decent characters here in reserve. Not the greatest, but at least drawing a card.
I mean, worst case scenario, it's a big body too, because it does get boosts.
Yeah, that is also true. Yeah, getting boosts in reserve and on the field from Afanas hero ability. It's you don't get to see those too often recently, I think. Start off said I was rating this card better than the field reinforcements because it's 2 bodies basically over 2 turns and also drawing a card, but by now it's kind of just too slow, I think. You really want the upfront draw and playing it from hand first, and then on the second play you still need to play a spell first. It's just quite a bit too slow.
It's definitely slow for the effect, but I'm in Afanas, 1 mana 1/1/1 is sometimes just what you need, and the upside, if you happen to get it, is just gravy.
And there's that unique play by the Afanas that is just on no condition returning a card when it leaves the expedition. So super sweet, but of course with that 3 cost from hand, it's quite a bit pricey, but super sweet effect.
This Afanas will have to play around that hooked and try and find a way to hopefully not fall prey to it, because the stress does still have the hooked, which will draw a card and swap expeditions, and still has that bug out bag, which can pretty easily still lock down one side.
I don't think the hooked here at this point is the biggest threat, since
No.
it is maybe just hooking the character into another expedition where it just wins on. So yeah, hooked when being behind is such a feels bad card, especially if you need to win that turn. Then it's basically useless.
Especially if your opponent is neck and neck like this and just needs a single advance.
Exactly.
At this point, it's just a 2 mana draw card.
Oh, 1 cost unique from hand, from reserve, but it's just a dust target character gains fleeting. I personally do really like this effect, but it's not really helping in this spot a ton, so yeah. Also immediately gets removed. So yeah. Now at least these starfishes do have boosts to draw cards, but yeah, they are quite weak for the stats currently. You could say you just don't want to draw off these starfishes and then you get a 2 mana 2/2 body, but is that really worth it? I'm not sure.
I don't know. And at this point, the Afanas only has 3 mana, so he can only play one or the other. I'm sure he has a 1 mana spell sitting around somewhere. I mean, if he's maybe sandbagging a beauty sleep or something that he could hopefully use to stop this Afanas from advancing, or stop this Tress from advancing, that would obviously be the dream scenario here.
Yeah. And there are no beauty sleep so far in the discard, so there's a chance they still have it in the 2 cards in hand, but yeah, still not guaranteed.
Because this Tress does also have a fairly full hand compared to the Afanas, which is odd for an Afanas player. Normally they have that commanding card advantage.
Yeah, it seems they just played a bit more for the early game, just for early advances, and that's oftentimes just sacrificing a bunch of cards in hand. And yeah, I feel like just drawing cards instead of playing aggressive oftentimes is what Afanas wants to do, but sometimes you just get these games where you can play aggressive, and that is a rarely seen Blizzard, and that is quite funny. But yeah, still, if there's a 1-cost character in hand, still winning for the Afanas side.
It's entirely possible. I don't think Rosario. I don't think that Equinox will make midway changes through qualifiers, but I know there's going to be a release before Worlds. I think it was before Worlds they're going to announce another change to the rules. Just an update, if I remember correctly.
I think there might be changes, but it was definitely announced that there are no changes before, I think, one of the US qualifiers and before Essen, before the German qualifier. But I'm not too sure about the others, since those 2, I think, were specifically mentioned. But maybe I just misremember what was posted, since it was definitely reposted in our team chat, and I remember reading something about that. Maybe I can find that really quick.
But as far as the game goes, Afanas was able to play that 1 mana character and was able to eke out that win at the end and beat the Trest. So they will be advancing, and it looks like we've got a lot of Afanas players out there, which I'm not opposed to. Afanas is a very interesting hero to play. Got a lot of decision points to make, which a lot of people do really enjoy in a hero. So it's not just monotonous play style. You kind of get to have a different game each time, which Afanas can be very interesting in that regard. But it looks like we do have a lot of games still going on in
I did.
round 4.
I did not find the repost for Rosket, but Cole mentioned something, I think. Mid-season patch will have info on 29th. Okay. Yeah, still a ton of games left. Do you have a table you want to take a look at? Otherwise,
Yeah, I want to take a look at table 10 actually.
Okay. Sure.
No teams, just
Yeah.
two players duking it out.
Fab against Kokush.
Another Afanas.
I'm not sure, but there was definitely in the top 32 of Lille a player called Fab. I'm not sure if that's the same player, but I think Fab in the qualifier was also on Afanas, so there's definitely a chance. Actually, let me check. We do right now see the uniques, so maybe that's the same player.
It looks like Tasia does have a second spindle.
And yes, I think that is indeed the same player.
It's the same one.
Yeah. So that is top 32 player from the French qualifier. That's good to see. But currently on board, at least, starting this day, of course, Tasia looking quite good. But we might see Hungers from Afanas side here this turn.
Yeah, these the multi-anchor uniques are a menace to play against because there's just so much repeatable value. It can be so hard to get around, and having something like that spindle out just makes it even harder for Afanas to remove any of those things anchored because they cost so much more.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see if they just play that second spindle and basically make it impossible for Afanas to do anything.
These multi-anchors on uniques that anchor themselves, that is quite absurd. But of course,
I don't know if this one anchors itself though.
Yeah, so it anchors itself on play.
Oh, it anchors itself on play. It does.
Yeah. So that is quite strong. But of course, you are sacrificing Spindle Harvester slots for these, so you only have those alloys that are resupplying at dusk, at noon.
I mean, yeah, being able to have that aloe vera anchor turn after turn, not have to worry about paying that extra 1 mana for it, is always nice to have, just in case you might need it for something else.
Yeah, and we do see a skater here. Oh, the skater, I think you can technically scam in Tasia with these mass anchors. So scam is the concept of you have Floral Tent and then you just play the scout cost for characters, but you fulfill the conditions. And for skater, you can, with these mass anchors, you can anchor them before they leave the expedition and then just remove the anchored instead of letting the skater go to reserve. And I think another card that does this is the Minotaur. The 6 mana guy that just anchors a character. You can scout that for as well into a Floral Tent lane, and it just doesn't leave.
I wonder how Equinox is going to end up fixing that issue, because I know they're looking at a lot of like these repeatable effects, and they used to be token spawners, but now I think these repeatable anchors are just such a huge offender, especially with things like Scout, that you can just pay it for a reduced cost and still get the benefit of the body sticking around when it has anchored. I just personally think it's too much, and I'm just wondering personally what Equinox is going to do about it and how they might address it in future patches and how it's going to look going into Worlds.
Yeah, I myself also do really not like this mass anchor strategy from Tasia. It's just, for me, very unfun to play into. But I think recently in the meta it hasn't been the strongest, so I don't think that there will be changes about it soon. But maybe they will still be, and I'm not sure.
I'm curious to see how when the new hero comes out in the new set coming out in October, how it will impact some of these cards, and maybe if we'll get a hero, a Moonic hero that maybe is a little bit more meta viable opposed to just, character or heroes that can't really quite make the cut. Tasia for a while was a very good hero, but she just got outclassed so quickly once the meta started to establish, and when new sets came out, she was just left completely behind.
Yeah, and back to the game. Is there still a way for the Afanas to win? There are so few cards available to them, and it's just going up into these stats at the start of turn. I feel like there's no chance for the Afanas to contest both these expeditions.
No, unfortunately not. This is very bad for Afanas. I mean, there's always a chance, but still, it's not looking great. I'm curious to see how Tasia plays with one card in hand. Everything else is.
Yeah, I mean, Tasia doesn't oftentimes need too many cards in reserve. They just get
Yeah.
all those resupplies, and they at least also have a draw in reserve. So that is at least something. Starts off with a Rhyme Frost here, but exhausting isn't really getting enough stats to at least contest that. Maybe they're just some really cheese cards in the deck for farmers. Some easy talks maybe. Just block all that companion side.
Has to be something big here, because now I had imagined there's going to get the Afanas going to Rhyme Frost again, that the Requiem, so that the Tasia can't get rid of what I assume will be the Studious Disciple played, because it'll have bleeding, and hopefully maybe going to try and do something from there, but we have yet to see what's in Tasia's hand. She already has such a commanding advantage in both expeditions from the previous turn with that Spindle Harvester and all those anchors.
Yeah, sometimes those mass anchors still just work out, and your opponent doesn't have the answers into this. But yeah, I think the mass anchor just fell off because there's, on one hand, I think a lot of reserve interactions, or just in general the new introduction of license withdrawal that makes everything feel bad to play. And yeah, we do see another unique here. When you may return a card and draw a card when leaving the expedition. That is quite a good one.
It's a great card. I don't know if it's going to be great here. How much it's going to be helping Afanas, especially with those two spindles and such a wide board by this Tasia. I'm not totally sure what Tasia's going to do with that Requiem. Well, nothing anymore, because it's about to get exhausted.
Yeah, but Afanas is doing nothing as well this turn. Yeah,
I mean,
that is unfortunate, but yeah, sometimes you just can't deal with all these anchors, and especially if they are double spindle protected, not a lot you can do. There's someone not liking the bug fix loop or combo too much and just wants that to be dealt with in the mid-season patch. Yeah, understandable. I do think it's funny, and I'd like to play that myself, but yeah, I can also see it being really frustrating for players.
They touch anything from the new set? I don't know if I don't think anything from Whisper of the Maze is really worth. There are definitely some very powerful cards from Whisper of the Maze. The only thing I would imagine that would be hit from Whisper of the Maze is some of the uniques, because I know they're working on balancing repeatable effects, like repeatable tokens, or creating repeatable anchors, repeatable draws, which are particularly big in Whisper of the Maze. But I mean, Equinox has been learning a lot throughout the past sets, and I'm sure there will be things eventually, but I think they want the meta to settle a little bit more for Whisper of the Maze before making any big decisions, especially so close to Worlds, if they do bug fix or patch anything before the Worlds event.
Yeah, the resource from the Maze card that I've heard the most complained about so far is actually License Withdrawal.
Yep.
So yeah, that card, yeah, is so good.
License draw is good. I don't know if it's gonna get hit. I think it's
I also don't think so, but
yeah.
it's so annoying to play against.
Looks like we still have a few more matches going on, but they're all basically almost finished. We'll be heading into round 5 fairly soon. They're all at 80% or more.
Yeah, let's go to.
Yeah, let's try hopping into one really quick.
Let's go to. Oh, we haven't. Maybe just.
We could do table 35. We haven't seen anyone from there.
Sure.
I was looking to see who we haven't seen yet, because I know we've seen a lot of people.
So another Afanas, of course. And we are seeing Erratic against Pedro Docart. And
wow.
Without hovering over the uniques, I already think I know what those are doing. They are just resupplying whenever a zero stat character joins. And yeah.
They're all Esmeraldas too. That's so interesting.
But they do have different. There's one that needs you to put a card from your hand in reserve to get the resupply. There's one with the clean text that just does it whenever a zero stat joins, and another that has a condition. But the condition on that one is fine. Yeah, I really like these resupply loops. There was recently a video for Axiom to get a resupply combo. That was by one of my teammates, Freeloader, and it's whenever you play a permanent, you resupply, and the important part on that one is you need to sacrifice a permanent so you can just spam permanents. And yeah, that is a really funny deck idea, and yeah, but it just takes ages to play the deck, so you can play a single turn over 2 hours. And yeah, that is maybe not the most BGA friendly deck.
That sounds like a very fun deck to play against, though.
Definitely. Keelan's saying they can't afford hotfix on bug fix. It's too much fixing. Yes. And the Arak got their full combo set up, so now they already won basically. But they can just keep playing cards and even break the ice. And yeah, it's a fun combo. And yeah, hopefully I just don't play against it.
You might have to eventually.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can prepare.
But I think these types of combo decks definitely still have weaknesses.
Oh yeah. Combo decks that rely so heavily on getting those combo pieces fall very easily if they don't get those combo pieces when they need or in conjunction with each other, and from there they just can't do anything and they can stall out pretty easily.
Exactly. Yeah. I think there are now 4 minutes left into round 4 so far, and yeah, maybe we can see another timeout game.
Let's see what else there is going on.
One table left, I think. It's table 17. Caballo again. I think we've seen both of these players already on a timed out table. So yeah, play fast. You have 3 minutes left before time's out, and I think both of you have already been timed out. I think this is the first time I'm actually trying to scout how long the overtime is gonna be, but so far it seems that every single round just has had that 5-minute overtime.
The 5 minutes is definitely a little. It's nice to have a little bit of extra time, but sometimes it is not enough, especially if you're making a lot of complicated decisions, which Altered has a lot of.
Yeah, but I myself would prefer if they actually just stuck to that 30 minutes time and not extended to 35. So yeah,
I agree. It makes it just more simple for everyone.
There's currently a Pasiphae in reserve that just doesn't get any stats at all, and the Evanescence that also doesn't get stats.
There's really nothing this Afanas can do at this point. There.
Gets a 2 mana 0/0/0. And yeah,
I don't know
now
if that's balanced.
any single character with triple Haven boosts gets the job done here for the traced side. Doesn't even want to get the Haven boosts. And yeah, should now be winning with the Elemental.
Yeah.
But this should now
I
only
play
get 2
some
boosts. Yeah. Play 1 moment, 30 seconds longer, don't pass, and you'll be timed out. Okay. The first round that didn't go to timeout. But it was very close. It was like 30 seconds.
It does happen from time to time. It does happen.
Yeah. And that brings us to round 5 of the week 7 Monday of AWOL Monday. And yeah, we can check out some more tables. And I already see table 1, Warrior R against Stampeder Lanesh. Warrior R, I think one of the very few Austrian players that I see on BJA. But
wow.
they are definitely performing quite well. But yeah, let's not... maybe we can go to like the around table 15 or something like that. Oh yeah, and table 16, Donivier against Woodsy. Maybe we can check out that. What did I say? Table 15? Table 16? Donivier auf jeden Fall. Yeah. But it's still loading the mana. Oops, the mana decisions. Yeah, this sometimes quite take a while. Always hoping players are fast on mana decisions, but yeah, sometimes you just wait on the screen for a while.
It's generally a fairly big decision too, putting down your mana. It really does impact how your early game plays.
Yeah.
Because you make all your decisions just based off the knowledge you have with that opening hand.
And especially if you're playing heroes like Fen, where you are stuck with the cards for the rest of the game and can't mana them afterwards anymore, those decisions become much more impactful. But now we are seeing, I think, the first Lindaway for today.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, and a Yizmi Nurse that I did not expect to see on day 1 for a Lindaway.
We have a Lindaway and a Sigismar, which is going to be a really interesting matchup. I want to see how this Lindaway is going to be playing it.
Isn't that also the first Sigismar for today?
This is the first Sigismar for today, yes.
Yeah.
The first for everything.
Round 5, first Sigismar, that's quite good. But unfortunately, this Yizmi Nurse leaves open attorneys or legates to get additional card advantage for the Sigismar side. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And yeah, already small advantage for Sigismar side.
That'll be really, really nice for the Sigismar in the long run, especially if the Lindaway does play something big, like getting a lot of counters on the Mauler. Does play that Yzmir Nurse again. That does be a solid stat line now. A 2-mana 2/2/2. And having that attorney just to say, I don't care about advancing right now, but I want the card, or I can advance right now, I want the card drop, or those legates, like you said, and they just want to get rid of some cards in reserve, because there's a lot of resupply going along in Yzmir stuff. So getting rid of that, or forcing Lindaway into like a position of do they want to advance or do they want to not get sabotaged, becomes a very interesting piece of mind game that the Sigismar can play to kind of put Lindaway in a tough spot.
Yeah, and Lindaway also one of the heroes that really needs the card advantage. They do have great tools with Gift of Self and also Baba's Espor, and especially some really, really nice uniques. But yeah, sometimes Lindaway games feel super easy to play because you kind of get everything you want. Or they can feel super bad to play because you don't see the tools you need or the card advantage, and yeah, just kind of run out of cards super fast. And yeah, it's always tricky to play Lindaway. It's a super rewarding deck. You can play super well with it, but it's also, you need to play really well most of the games, and you don't really have free games, and any matchup can become very difficult.
This is Really interesting. Lindaway doesn't want the Sigma to double advance here.
Yeah, and doesn't want to give them additional resources and blocking the attorney, so just has to play that Off You Go here. And Off You Go in the Sigismund matchup, not the greatest card, but if you want to hit specific things from the Sigismund side, it's either that attorney or that legate, just to it's an even mana trade and you get rid of their card advantage basically. So that's the only one of the few things. Maybe there are some uniques that are also worth to Off You Go, but otherwise I feel like Off You Go not the greatest card in this matchup.
This is really interesting too for them Lindaway, because now that they got rid of the Orchid Attorney and they cut out some of Sigismar's card advantage, now they have to worry about Legate and playing around that and figuring out, all right, how do I play around this and not lose card advantage? Because like we had just said earlier, Lindaway does have a trouble with card advantage because she's sacrificing so many things.
Yeah,
Granted,
and
she has ways to sometimes get them back and recur them, but it's still a pain.
yeah, these jellyfishes, of course, super nice. Just sacrifice them twice. Feels so good. And yeah, especially if it's the rare version, you really need to sacrifice them twice. Otherwise, you're missing out on the rare upgrade. And yeah, the best part, of course, are still the unique jellyfishes, but
oh yeah,
we haven't seen those in a while, and I'm very sad about it.
they're so good.
Yeah,
I mean,
they were. And I fortunately could play these jellyfishes in set 1, so I got to loop a bunch of things. That was super fun. But yeah, it was a sad time when they got suspended. Fortunately, they weren't mine, and I just borrowed them. But yeah, it was still unfortunate to see those be suspended and still not have returned yet. Unban the jelly, yes. I'm definitely part of
they come back
that train.
soon.
Yeah. Maybe in the mid-season patch. I'm hoping for that. But that could maybe make, yeah, that could make Lindaway super strong. But yeah, we're hoping for the best. Oh, and a Tooth Fairy to attack the Sigismund resources. Also, at this point, quite nice. You still have an after you, so you can kind of bait and switch on the Lindaway side. But yeah, now for Sigismund, still having to play 2 cards here to potentially double advance is quite expensive.
This is really interesting too for the Lindaway because she's trying to advance, or it looks like she's trying to advance on the side of her hero expedition, and doesn't really care too much about that sabotage. But it looks like she won't be advancing anyway after the Sigismund just played that Orders Crier, and now she sacrificed with a Baba Ispa to get some counters on that Maw. That is the nice thing about Lindaway and Maw, is that if you're in expedition, you can find a way to sacrifice something in that expedition and hopefully advance a little bit more in your companion, so you're not just losing advantages or giving weird trades. This does also prevent that sabotage from Sigismund, which I'm sure Lindaway was really looking to get around. Like you said, I don't think that Off You Go is really a big deal for Lindaway right now, especially in this Sigismund. But having that body on the Tooth Fairy that you can sacrifice for advantage is going to be very big for Lindaway, especially when you don't want to be sacrificing stuff without fleeting, so you can get their maximum value.
Yeah. And PX in chat said they was asking if they didn't already mention they had a fix for the jellyfishes. I'm not sure. I haven't heard about anything about that yet, but maybe someone else can confirm or deny that in chat. I myself haven't heard that yet. But it would be cool if they had a fix and that was coming next patch.
I know they made an update where they're saying they're working on fixes for a lot of the problem characters that they had suspended. I don't think they gave an explicit solution to them, but I know they had said, like, look, we know they've been on the suspension list for a long time, so we're going to work on them a little bit more.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't think there's a solid concrete like we are going to change this about it. We'll probably find out just whenever the releases, the fixes are actually implemented live.
And talking about jellyfishes, there's the first rare
Yep.
jellyfish. But Babas Ispa gets discarded by that license withdrawal. This one at least being a negative trade for the Sigisma. It's going down on mana and also kind of going down on cards because that Ispa drew a card when being played, but of course just getting rid of that Ispa is still a really, really solid play for the Sigisma side.
I mean, that's a really interesting thing with Lindaway and Mott, is there aren't a ton of ways, of reliable ways to continually sacrifice characters. Some of them are only, when a character enters, like an Anubis or like a Babas Ispa, you have to tap it or you have to exhaust it to use it. So coming across cards in Lindaway that reliably sacrifice that you can use again and again are very prized pieces. So getting rid of them is definitely a smart move by the Sigismar, even though they are down on cards.
I think they aren't really even down on cards at the moment. I think they are kind of.
I just mean down on the card advantage, because like you said, Lindaway did draw a card off of that.
True, yeah. It's definitely worth to still just get rid of the Ispa, but it's super annoying for Lindaway player. Still gets. Oh, that's actually a expedition win for the Lindaway here, so they are now ahead. No, they're even again.
Yeah.
And
going delayed kind of discard here though.
Yeah, most likely getting rid of that 4 mana. Off you go. That is just stuck around in the reserve, waiting to be discarded at some point. I don't think it was ever planned to play that card again. So yeah.
No, I think it's a pretty easy decision here. I think they just use it for that 2 mana, remove something small, and then just discard it when you don't need it again.
Yeah. And now this jellyfish, being first player, is super nice to just put into that hero expedition, say, well, I'm blocking you now, and kind of baiting with hopefully a gift of self in hand, but doesn't even get to potentially gift of self because there's that tiny gel, and it is interesting the priority on seeing that tiny gel, that jellyfish removed, but it does make a lot of sense. And actually,
oh wow,
there's a super sweet keyword here that is sacrificing a character and putting a card from hand into reserve to draw 3 cards. That is a ton.
That's gonna be huge.
But Sigismund takes the turn to draw themselves with Gift of Self. I bet the Lindaways also wanted to get at least 1 Gift of Self at this point so far. Didn't manage to find it quite yet, but yeah, that coup art also just refilled their hand quite nicely.
Hopefully this will give Lindaway a chance to maybe draw into some of those more repeatable sacrifice outlets like the Babas Ispa. I'm certain she has a few Anubis laying around in her deck as well. A few things that can maybe get her engine rolling a little bit more so she can recover from losing that original Ispa and hopefully continue to match the Sigismar.
I wouldn't quite expect there to be Anubises in the Lindaway lists. Yeah. I haven't seen that too much recently, but some bombs as well. They are always quite often played, but I think also into Sigismar, not the best tools.
I've seen a few lists here and there running, again, they run a lot of bombs. I've seen a few dipping into Anubis, maybe running 1 or 2, but like you said, most of the time they're not running it. I'm not sure what Donover is doing for their deck, but maybe they've got something in there that I'm not thinking of that might hopefully get them a little more of that value or repeatable sacrifice that they can use multiple times. That's not something obvious necessarily like that Gift of Self or like that Babas Ispa.
Yeah, and one of the coolest uniques so far that I've seen for Lindaway is probably Resh's unique Stargazers that at dusk make you sacrifice a character to draw a card, and when they are sacrificed themselves they draw an additional card. So basically those can get you 2 sacrifices and 3 card draws, on a single unique, and that is super, super cool.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I think he has 2 of these uniques, which is
Cool.
even
Wow.
crazier.
Good for him then.
Yeah.
I wish I had that kind of luck.
Yeah. Probably therefore one of the most well-known Lindaway players, but yeah, really, really good uniques, of course.
Looks like we do also have that Ysmir Nurse coming out. I'd imagine the Sigismund are just going to keep playing small characters and really sandbag that tiny jail to hopefully maybe get something that's a little bit juicier of a target. Wait for Lindaway to spill some more of her hand, and then maybe make a more informed decision about what he wants to remove.
Yeah, this still is quite tough going first and being, well, it's not really quite low on cards, and yeah, Rallying Call, that is really, really nice this turn. Gets you 2 more plays and is just 2 mana to after you quite efficiently. And you could be thinking about playing that Kuwata now from reserve, but I think that's oftentimes just giving up the double advance.
You could certainly play the quad if you wanted to. It won't have any of its effects, but it is still a body. A big one at that too, which can always be helpful. But if he plays anything else from hand that doesn't have fleeting, he will have to discard down to hand size, which, depending what this Lindaway is going to play, might make a difference.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky turn now for the Lindaway, seeing that Rallying Call, just these slow plays this provides is so good.
Lindaway would definitely have to act soon. Looks like she is going to play that Kuat, which is probably the right decision here, especially because if she doesn't present a big threat right now, Sigismund is just going to double advance. And then from there, he just needs a single advance to win, and that would put Lindaway in a really tight position that she doesn't want to be in.
Yeah, I mean, this still opens up pretty much any character here from hand for the Sigismund to be a 2-for-1, since the Kuat is lacking that water stat. And yeah, it is the Attorney. So together with, at least it's not a clean 2-0 for the Sigismund side, and only a 2-for-1.
If Sigismund plays this Rally Call, I think he just gets that double advance off, no?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
but it's only a 2-for-1 and not a 2-0, since the Forest still advances for the Lindaway side, but of course still advantage goes to the Sigismund, and they do only have 2 cards left in hand and redraw 2, but if you're going second and you can react to your opponent, it's still a lot easier to play the game. Oh, even discards the Attorney over the Trooper, since it has 1 less stat in Forest.
Maybe he's just committing to just playing as low to the ground as possible. I mean, he's drawing 2 new cards too. I'd imagine he's not going to put anything down, and just keep saving that tiny shield for maybe that mob before it gets too big and gets out of control. But Lindaway's going to have, if she puts one down, she'll still have 4 cards in hand, as well as Zooey's Disciple in reserve.
And also, if there are any draw effects now drawn from the Sigismund side, playing cheaper characters, of course, also better. So that's also one benefit to think about for the 1 costs. But yeah, it's now onto the Lindaway to find a way to get back into this game. And I don't feel like it's starting off with Disciple in Companion side. I feel like you kind of have to contest Hero at least to block.
Maybe she does have in hand that boom like you were talking about. That she's gonna maybe wait and see what else Sigismund can play, and if he does end up playing something big, she can just boom it and maybe go from there.
Yeah,
we know.
I don't feel like there are a lot of big things that the Sigismund side is gonna play, and just keeps contesting that Companion side for the Lindaway. That is interesting. Maybe some Planning for
Maybe she's a Blizzard.
Blizzard for Isitok? Yeah, I'm not sure.
Interesting. Because if Lindaway can get this double advance here, if she can somehow pull that off, she just wins the game right there.
There's a spy that's just played for a 2/2.
Okay.
Yeah, no sabotage, unfortunately, but yeah. Still, oftentimes the body just does it. But yeah. Amrock incoming. Amrock unique? Yeah, maybe. With some avalanche effect.
Oh, that'd be so good right now.
Yeah, especially if it's the rare avalanche effect with that gets the 5 instead of 4 mountain stats.
Wow, that would just be absolutely devastating for the Sigismar player.
Yeah, but still needs to wait out 2 cards basically. Okay, creates the maw. I feel like we haven't seen the maw too often this game around. Okay, plays the Moth Lantern companion side.
She has to have that Blizzard.
And now some 5 cost Isitok. But oh, maybe another Kuwat that has just a ton of stats. Hello, Wish. Maybe you can tell us what's happening in this game and what Lindaway is playing for. But yeah, predicting the uniques for players is always quite hard. But we've actually at least seen one Kuwat, so maybe there are more of the style.
There could be, like you said, other Kuwats. There could be the Amarok you were talking about. I know there's a few other interesting ones. I know some people really like
double removal Dorothys. That could also work.
Interesting. I mean, there's obviously decision on the Sigismar's part, but this is taking a little longer than expected. I'm not totally sure what the plan is here.
Yeah, I think the Sigismar also isn't too sure about that.
Oh.
Sandman? Yeah, that's a decent amount of stats. Probably sleeps their own spy, I imagine.
I don't think he can afford to sleep the spy, because if he does... Oh, no, it depends. I mean, Lindaway has 5 mana and 2 cards in hand. It could be anything. He does sleep that spy.
Yeah, anything else doesn't really do anything, and that was the called unique Amrock. Yeah. That is quite good. And it is...
Good prediction.
It is, in fact, just common avalanche effect, but yeah, that's still winning the game on the spot.
It does the job.
Yeah. That was actually good prediction from who was it? It was Yikes. Yeah. Very nice call out. Yeah. Lindaway strong enough to beat the Sigismar.
You heard it here first. Lindaway is a better hero than Sigismar.
Yeah.
Let's see what other games he's got going on.
Never seen an Amrock like that. Yeah, they do exist. Yeah. What out of faction is Avalanche actually?
I think it's Axiom.
The out of faction.
Okay.
I mean.
Oh, the out of faction. Lyra.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that. Okay, yeah.
Isn't it I believe. Let me make sure I'm
I've no clue. I feel like I've never seen the other faction for that being played, so I actually don't remember. Okay, so someone else also saying it's Lyra, so yeah.
It is
Lyra. Good chance, yeah.
I have played against it a handful of times against one of my friends at my LGS, and it is the bane of my existence.
Okay, yeah. Avalanche can be very annoying. there are at least still 11 minutes left in round 5 of this of today's AWOL. So we can maybe now check out one of the higher up tables. Let's go maybe to table 7. This Nico against Fandimuna. Yeah,
Sounds about right to me.
I never know how to pronounce these. Okay, that game just ended. I never know how to pronounce these French names. Oh yes, Tempet won the battle on first. Let's go. Also Wesh won. Okay. So we might see a altered aces battle on first.
That'd be an interesting one to see.
Still table 3 to decide the last. Okay, no, that also just finished up. Okay. All these games now finishing up one by one.
If you go further down, it's a lower table, but table 36 is only 30% into their game.
Yeah, sure. Is that another Gurang game?
It just so happens to be,
oh,
yes.
Yeah.
It's Gurang versus Trest.
Yeah, okay. So it's Shroomf against Alex Kid. I definitely know both of these names. I think I remember one AWOL where on stream they at some point, I think like 10 minutes into the round, they already had a switch to a new game, and they were like, oh, there's a game still at 0% progressions. Is the player AFK there, or what is happening? And it happened to be me playing Gurang against a Afanas, and it was just both of us drawing cards, setting up, and not advancing at that point. So it was actually on 7 or I think 6 or 7 mana when they tuned in, and it was still 0% progress. So no one had made any advancements on the tumult, which was quite funny.
Oh my gosh. It does happen sometimes. It does happen sometimes. Not often, but...
Yeah. And here we already have the double Masected for Gurang and our Lyra or Boros Bastion. Haven't seen that in a while for Trace, but still, that is a super sweet card and plays quite nicely with a ton of resupply, and especially with these resupply support abilities that we do see in this deck here for Traced. And on 10 mana already, so the Gurang can definitely advance, and yeah, it's looking good. Traced still tries the best, plays out Overseers, probably wants that card rather in reserve to just dig for other cards and not being forced to play from hand. And yeah, seeing Traced with no cards left in reserve feels quite weird. They always have resupplies.
This is really interesting too from Tress. I know he's playing Grems here, most likely to get rid of one of, I'd imagine, his own landmarks to get an advantage, because it can't hit either of the Mesic types. It's just the common Grems.
Yeah, and that's why I've seen I think most decks do slot in one rare Grem, but I think I recently have seen the first player that is actually playing 3 rare Grems and saying, well, it's good into Afanas Nylums, it's good into the Mesectats, it's good into the Sigismar Bastion, the Monolith Bastion, and yeah, it's also good into Nylums from Sierra sides. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But we do see an order here, and that's not one of the super token spamming orders that we know Popiet had been running and has swapped off of for now.
It does let them draw a card though to see a little bit more of their deck.
Yeah, and we might now get to see the resupply loop with these frozen deliveries and support abilities. And there's a salvager, so can keep resupplying. But I'm not sure what they want to be resupplying into. Usually your uniques are the payoffs for all of this resupplying and searching through your deck, but especially with this order, doesn't seem to be the biggest payoff.
Curious as to why. Maybe it's not the same type of turbo deck.
Okay. When you create a token. So you may return a card at dusk and gets boost when you create a token. Okay. But I don't think there are a ton of tokens in this Trace deck.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just playing the uniques they got in general and didn't really buy specific uniques for this Trace deck.
I mean, all things considered, if that's what's the case, they're still doing, you know, fairly well for just running with run-of-the-mill uniques.
Yeah. Oh, and still tries to contest for that companion side. Missing two stats currently. Gets teamwork training, so now it seems hard to get a progression at all, I feel like, for this Traced. Searching for cards again with these resupplies. Oh. Wait, how did that? Oh. Use the bug out bag. So can now still play Grams to sacrifice their own bug out bag and still get the advance here. But no, that's not enough. That's still missing one stat. It's at least blocking, but you're not advancing.
That'll put the Trust at a pretty big card disadvantage.
Yeah, a ton of cards for this Gurang here.
Who is still now in double advance range if she can get that. She won't be getting anything, any tokens from the Messick set in her Hero Expedition, but she will still be getting the 2 in her Companion Expedition, which might be all she needs to hopefully get that just advantage right out of the gates. Yeah. Especially with 12 mana and 6 cards in hand, 2 in reserve.
And just to mention that once again, there are only 4 minutes left in this round. I think till it's terminated by BGA. But I think whether actually, if there's no double advance this turn, it might come to a timeout. But Gurang currently being ahead on time as well. So even a timeout would be fine for them. Trace just wants to dig for cards. Has a ton of resupply already in reserve here with that Salvager and Frozen Delivery. But I'm not sure they can... I'm really not sure what the outs are into this.
The Gibble's not a bad one. It's a big body, but Gurang already has such a commanding advantage. He would maybe try using its discard ability to look more through his deck, but I don't even know if that's going to do it at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But that's basically what the Gibble is there for. It will most likely dig through the deck. But yeah, I'm not sure what they are digging for.
I don't think we did miss one unique that was played earlier in the game. It was a Foundry Engineer that has 2 reserve effects. One, if you play it from reserve, the next permanent costs 2 less. And then if you play it from reserve, the next card you play costs 2 less. And then it has the discard ability you want, where it activates the effect of a permanent. Yeah. So that's obviously the deck he's going for here.
Oh, an Atlas. And that's Atlas with the Open the Gates affair. Oh, no, it's with Charge Effect. Oh, so many stats coming out.
Atlas has
flying out. That's crazy.
And then there's a Paper Herald too that double spawns, which is what's creating all those tokens.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is such a good Paper Herald. This is also pretty much a Sigisma unique. So yeah. Still gets the hooked off. Not doing a whole lot, but yeah.
It was worth a shot.
Yeah, and game is only 1 minute again away from timeout, so yeah. That should probably then bring us into round 6. Yes, this is round 5, so next round will be the last one. And yeah. Just waiting here for the pass now, and then we should go into... Actually... Discard the card. Go.
This is a tough decision for him. It could be...
Yeah. That's true, that's true. Or do we get to see the timeout? Oh, okay, no timeout.
There we go.
Okay. So, yeah, with that we are into round 6, and seeing the matchups here, it's a Resh against Temperature Lanesh or a Ganwan against Tilupus. And I know which table I want to take a look at, and it's of course table 1. But now is the question, I've recently seen streams of Wesh, and Wesh was playing a lot of Afanas, but he was using Tempet's uniques. So if they are both on finals now, I feel like they can't be playing the same uniques. So this might be Lindaway into Afanas.
I would love to see another Lindaway game. Let us in.
So yeah, for me, I'm fortunately already in, and they are still picking heroes. So yeah. So we are now into round 6. This is the final round, and yeah, we'll decide who's undefeated and will get first and second. And yeah. Free win, easy 6-0, as Resh saying. So yeah, it is that Afanas into Lindaway, and I do not quite know who's favored. I think this is a I've played this matchup from the Afanas side in set 2 a bit, and from my perspective, if it felt very playable for either hero. So yeah, I'm not sure who's actually favored in this, but probably I think they both have really good off-you-go targets, but I think the Lindaway uniques are a bit more off-you-goable than the Afanas ones. So maybe unique-wise, I just say, or off-you-go-wise, I'd say Afanas has the upper edge, but this could be anyone's game.
Yeah, I mean, they're both very similar, using your decks where they want to play that, control strategy. So I imagine a lot of it will come down to who draws the right cards at the right time.
Yeah, and that's just a day 1 pass by Tempet here. That is interesting. So there's most likely some sort of Nylem plus Nylem pair in reserve, or maybe uniques where you just don't have the spells for. And I do really like this day 1 gift of self into the pass, because if your opponent then really has that Nylem, there's no way of exhausting anything.
I'm surprised what this Afanas could have. Like you said, there has to be some sort of Nylem or something, some game-changing card. Otherwise, he wouldn't have. An aggressive deck like Afanas would have taken the first day off to just set up for his next turns.
Yeah, and these Afanas lists oftentimes just really want to play out Conjuring Seal day 1 and then don't really do not do anything else. But if you don't have that Conjuring Seal, I'm still very surprised to see nothing else.
Yeah.
And I feel like this jellyfish on day 1 here is saying there's another gift of self in hand. And yeah, there's that Nylem not getting anything. And yeah, unfortunate. And is there now that second gift of self already?
Oh, that's absolutely backbreaking for this Afanas.
Yeah, that is quite brutal, but at least you are only down one card in reserve and one expedition. But yeah, still very, very nicely played around that island by Washia. That was amazing to see.
Afanas does draw a lot of cards. There's always a chance he can draw into another one, or he's obviously going to draw into more cards that he can play. But banking the entire first 2 turns off of that and not having to work out is rough. But just as we predicted, there is the other Nylon, which does have something to hit this time. It does have the jellyfish.
Yeah. And
I'm curious.
Not getting the jellyfish draw.
Yeah.
Especially if there's that sacrifice, is quite painful. And that nurse is now threatening to take another 0-1-0. And yeah, it's looking like that's actually what's happening here. So yeah,
wow,
another advantage here goes over to the Lindaway side, being up 2 expeditions now. And yeah, Afanas does have a good setup now with at least one Nylon, but not having gotten any card draw. Lindaway probably still searching for either Baba's Ispa or Motherland at this point, but first playing the jellyfish already pretty much means there probably already is another sacrifice tool to draw a card off the jellyfish. And yeah, these jellyfishes early game do look so nice.
There comes a Rhyme Frost, which could be a bit of a problem for the Lindaway. I know she has 4 cards in hand, but normally, again, you want to be sacrificing to have fleeting.
Oh, that's a good sabotage, getting rid of cards.
And there's that mage entry we've been talking about all day.
And if there's now a magical training alongside that mage dancer, this is already looking super strong for the Afanas side. You get to draw 3 cards basically and hopefully double advance, or at least get a lead again or get back in the tumult. But a Yizmi Nurse makes that a bit difficult, going up against 6/6 stats. Yeah, I think even with a magical training, this is just a 5/5/5 mage dancer, so yeah, it's still drawing a ton of cards, but it's still a 1-for-1.
It looks like we're probably going to get a little bit of a back and forth. I don't think we're going to get, based on this, we're going to get a huge surge from either player. We're probably going to be getting... Oh, wow.
That is aggressive, but quite good at this point. Yeah, I really like it. You just have one card. So you are now down on card advantage, kind of, but you just still have the magical training plus the mage dancer that still draw you cards. So even though currently you don't have the most amounts of cards, you're now even again on the tumult. Plus you still have a lot of card draw in your hand.
That is really nice, but normally I know you want to wait a little bit further into the game before, using your entire hand like that. It looks like it's going to pay off as Afanas, but it's always risky to use that much card advantage early on.
I mean, this wasn't really using the...
Yeah.
So this was still preserving the card draw, and that's the important part, and the other part, you can kind of just throw your spells out whenever you want to, and I think this was really solid, so you're not really threatened later on, and just get back on the tumult before the Lindaway gets their setup with Ispa and the Moth Lantern, so that was really, really nice, and I think quite important at this point of the game already. But now it's still, if there's still Boom or Off You Go for this, it is still super, super scary. But Boom actually not that scary. The Off You Go is Jellyfish, okay. So this might be baiting for Off You Go actually.
There's that Moonica giver too we saw.
It's not baiting for off you go, it's baiting for license withdrawal, okay.
Oh, wow.
No needs beauty sleep? Oh, another exhaust, yeah. That also works. And this caregiver, super nice, gets to pick up 2 cards, one at dusk, one at when leaving the expedition, needing 1 boost and a landmark. That goes really, really well together with these Nylums. And yeah, these Tempest uniques are so good.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing for the Afanas. Now up on cards as well.
Yeah. And that's how how fast the card advantage can change. One
I take back what I
magical
said.
training.
That was a great play.
Yeah. Oh, gets the sabotage to immediately get rid of that unique, but down 2 cards to 4 here in hand. Another Rhyme Frost.
Oh, wow.
This Afanas just has everything they need. It's crazy. Okay, there's at least a sabotage, but having to sabotage your non-fleeting characters, painful.
Yeah, I mean, having to sacrifice anything that doesn't have fleeting is always rough because you're just losing value the next turn. But I assume Lindaway just figures she has to make a stand here to at least try and do something against the Afanas. I know sometimes you just want to keep the cards in your hand and maybe pass if you know there's no chance of winning. But Lindaway is fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, and if there's no Gift of Self next turn, oh yeah, the Jelly still is exhausted start of turn by that Rhyme Frost, and Afanas is going first, so yeah. The Gift of Self is also only drawing 2 cards, so you really want that Jellyfish draw. Yeah, it's not a great spot here for the Lindaway. And I think A.W.O.L has been playing with that unique setup that Tempest is running right now over the week, and has been streaming with these, and even gets to put a card from hand into reserve to give fleeting over to the nurse here, so limiting the cards that A.W.O.L has access to even more. And yeah, only having 2 cards now in hand next turn. Yeah, it's looking rough for Lindaway.
Yeah.
But so nicely played by Tempest so far.
Giving that nurse fleeting was absolutely huge for the Afanas.
Yeah. Immediate Rhyme Frost onto the Jellyfish. Gets another trigger for the Nylum. And yeah, that's now 2 cards in hand for Lindaway, but what can you do against this so far? Ispa, yeah, draws a card. What is the out here? I don't see it. Gift of Self. But yeah. Gift of Self into off you go maybe?
I'm not sure if they're... You need a lot of removal to get around this at this point. I mean, getting rid of that Nylum is obvious, but I don't know how many other booms Lindaway is drawing into. Hopefully she gets something, because that is absolutely destroying her with a multiple Rhyme Frost.
Yeah. Oh, just another 1/1/1 character. Yeah. That's a double advance at least. Plus a setup for that Sneaser Shroom here for Tempest. Gets more boosts even with that Sap Infusion onto the Sneaser, and yeah.
Having it stick around for the next day too, it's going to be really, really rough.
Oh,
just having that Sneaser Shroom.
Still gets to block for now on that hero side, so there still needs to be one more spell that needs to be committed here. Of course, the Rhyme Frost can just be played again, and get that boost onto the Moth, but at least that's now a more expensive Ram Frost for the next turn. And could potentially be sabotaged with a Tooth Fairy if they draw into it. But yes, still
I think we've already seen 2. So they do have 1 more left, assuming they run 3.
Yeah. Even puts to reserve the Moth to a Flame to give another fleeting over. But at least now Jellyfish can be played first, can be sacrificed and draw an additional card here for Wesh. Those are 2 slow plays and a draw, but it's still a tough spot.
There's a Mage Dancer.
Mage Dancer, of course, can get a ton of sets here.
Just doesn't do I have a chance here? I mean, it just seems like she's fighting an uphill battle at this point. She's at such a disadvantage.
Yeah. I guess if they have removal spells here in hand, the Off You Goes can help. But yeah. Off You Goes activate Ram Frost and the Nylum, so even though you remove a character, they kind of immediately get it back. Another Jellyfish. Okay. Rhyme Frost for the slow play. Okay. There's a unique, but it's just drawing at dusk. But these Stargazer uniques from Rush, they are so sweet. Still has a exhaust to trigger the Nylum here for Tempest side, and I think that should be the game, and they should go 6-0 with this. So really nicely played by Tempest. Gets that team battle win here and goes 6-0 once again in the AWOL. So yeah.
Really well done. I'm curious to see what this last card in Lindaway's hand is, but whatever it is, I don't think it's gonna let her come back.
I also definitely do not think so, yeah. It's a Moth Breeder, so still 3 stats, but yeah, not enough to contest.
It was valiantly fought by Wesh.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't get enough card draw or don't see your uniques early enough, so yeah. This one goes to Tempest. Even though the early game was really nicely played by Wesh, playing around the Nylum, but it wasn't enough. And yeah. You can still check out if game 2 is still running and we get another battle for the undefeated spot. And yeah, it's still running. A Gunman against Telopos. And it's traced against another Afanas. And currently tied on the Tumult, but Afanas ahead in cards, but Traced definitely still has a ton of tools they could use to at least trade these days.
There's a Grams, but I mean, this is a really interesting match for this Tress. I know it's close to over, but like we were just talking about in the last game, card advantage is so important, and Afanas just has it right now. Tress can try and draw into something else here, but is still limited in what he can do. If Afanas can have something to get rid of Grams or something that can at least present a big threat to the Tress that he can't get rid of, this could mean a double advance here.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That Mage Dancer is a big play.
I just got the request to show the mana, and I think last time I said I need to work on that for the next time, so I'm just doing that now, and I think I started the mana in feeding Lina now, so you should now be able to see the mana. Unfortunately, it's now on the last game for today, but yeah. At least for next time, this should also be set up for on my stream, so yeah, on my end. So yes, sorry for that part, but yeah, now it should be visible. And yeah, now actually, Afanas is still just looking to trade expeditions, but draw a ton of cards, and yeah, then for next turn. Is there a way for Trace to win this turn? With Grams and a ton of boosts, but still 2 mana left for Telupas. So Trace still pretty much has to think about if they want to, if this day they want to advance, they are still playing around Off You Go, or what the options are for the Afanas side. I think the only threat to deny advances from the Trace side is pretty much that Off You Go, but other than that,
yeah, I'm not totally sure. I mean, there's got to be something this Afanas can play, but even if there isn't, if he can even get one advance off, he'll still have the card advantage to hopefully do something later.
Oh, there's a
wow.
Athena unique. I would have loved if that went into Companion Expedition, but
yeah,
I think just still contesting that into Afanas. Well, so for Trace from hand, you don't really have a ton of forest stats, and if there's that Off You Go, you're giving the Afanas 2 more boosts on that companion side, so you might as well still just go down, and I think it's maybe not worth. Actually, that Athena is super nice. It gets 1 boost for each card in your reserve, so Anansi effect, and loses fleeting if you control 2 or more landmarks. That is really, really cool.
That is a really, really nice unique. And
Yeah.
Vitress is going first on the next day, so he will be able to play that, and it'll have an extra boost because of that Grems.
Yeah. And you can even put another card into reserve first, but I think that doesn't play so nicely around potential sabotage or exhausts, so you might just want to play from reserve first and then slowly put more cards in reserve when you're seeing the sabotagers or Rime Frosts.
Actually, Rime Frost aside, for what it's worth, I just checked the discard pile, and we've already seen 2 Tooth Fairies. The one we see now is the 3rd one.
And we've seen earlier Tempest with a double return unique, and
yes.
This Afanas has another one. At dusk, you may return a spell from your reserve to your hand, and when I leave the expedition, if I have 1 or more boosts, you may return a spell from your reserve to your hand. Crazy uniques, super crazy uniques. Wait, I might need to close the window again.
I mean, yeah, anything that can get you extra value off of cards that you've already played, returning them back to your hand so you don't have to worry about them getting Rime Frost or getting sabotaged or having them just sitting in reserve taking up space, is always better to just get them back to your hand and have them to use for another time when you need it. But I mean, even a lot of times, sometimes opponents forget. They forget what cards you return to your hand, and they don't always expect it.
And sometimes you just mana the cards you returned, and your opponent plays around them, and then you just mana them anyway, and then you play a different card. That happened to me a few times as well before. Oh not
It becomes
finding
a very good mind game.
not finding resupply here for the traced. That is quite painful. Just
Oh, wow.
at this point in the game, the traced is just needs to play off of the resupply and out after using the Afanas side. But
Oh, wow.
okay, I did not expect that. Hungering your own uniques away. I mean, gets rid of the trace setup as well, but I feel like this just gives the trace more of an advantage. But yeah, maybe trace just doesn't have cards here.
I mean, Trace does also have now 6 mana to work with.
Yeah.
This might end up going into overtime. And unless the Trace can somehow, remove... Oh, wow. Unless Trace can remove that hunger.
Yeah. Let's place the Spindle Harvester as a body to stick around for the next day. The Frankenstein gets that expedition. But I think there's not much else to be done here. Unfortunately, no permanent left in hand here for the traced side, so can't replay on those. And yeah, I feel like now maybe the Afanas is favored because the trace just doesn't put out enough stats in the tiebreaker, especially without permanence. So yeah, I think Afanas is looking strong.
And that hunger having gigantic will be really big for the Afanas, especially if you can pump it up. If Tress can't get over that, I'm not sure what he'd be able to do here to win.
And especially Trace, I think, does not run any removal for this hunger. So even though I usually don't like the hunger from reserve, I think in this matchup it's super good, especially if now each spell you get gains. Oh, Avalanche still gets rid of that hunger when it's played for the first time. So no character sticking around here for the Afanas side, and now Trace kind of switched the matchup, saying, well, now I have a huge mana lead, 3 mana more than you, so plus 3 mana trade here for the Trace side, and yeah, gets to slow play onto the Afanas, so they can't even use Arfugos or Beauty Sleeps. And yeah, now Afanas getting maybe 3 boosts, 2 boosts onto the Spindle Harvester, but not more. So that Avalanche was so huge by the Traced here.
That was a massive play. I am now in the camp of I don't think Afanas can come back anymore.
Yeah, I also don't think so. And there's a unique Ada Loveless. I'm surprised that's swapped into reserve. Okay, it's swapped into reserve for the on-play effect, but yeah. Afanas passes, so
yep.
This will be game, and yeah. Really nice
down.
Avalanche.
Amazingly timed Avalanche, like you said.
The tournament is not yet over. There are still some tables left running, and I think 8 minutes or 7 minutes left of time in this round before it's timed out. And we can take a look at table 37. I think we haven't seen either of these players. BB Sigus against ATP Asachi. And it's a Nevenka mirror match. We haven't seen too many Nevenkas today yet, but we've seen at least one. But actually, even though there's a 28-28, how did that happen? I've never seen a Lakshmi with that many stats. That is crazy.
Wow, a lot of time. Oh, it's most likely anchored from a previous turn.
Yeah,
I had to guess.
It's probably anchored over multiple turns. And yeah, still getting that many boosts onto it, that is crazy. So I think there's probably at max 1 or 2 games still left running. One game, yeah, there's 1 game only left running It's 31 Stoof against Caleb. So there's Trace against Traced and one Traced one. So we should now have the final standings, and yeah. So we do have, for our undefeateds today, we do have DQ, Aganman, and Altered Aces Tempesta Lanesh. So huge congrats to them for winning. Wesh saying only third, yeah. only fourth even, since third is the loser on the second undefeated table. IAG Telapus going on third, then Altered Aces Wesh. So for our 5 and 1s, we do have as well just BBTV, Altered Aces Epsilon, FUG Oka, Wise Frank, CNV Fandemuna, Popiet, AGT Caballo, Belteshazzar, SUD Ader, and Altered Aces Cladius. There are a bunch more Font 2 players. I think all you can find the decks and records for these players later on 39 cards. And I'm never sure what to say in these outros. if you need more Alter to be played, there is still a lot more. I think this week, I'm not sure if there is I think the AQZ series are still being played. I think so. For tomorrow there is Blitz. Then Wednesday there's no unique. That's my tournament series. I'm organizing that one, so stick around for Wednesday. And of course on Wednesday there's that AWOL for the American time zone. So yeah. But yeah, thanks to you for being here with me. It's always great to have someone to talk to and not have to cast these alone. And yeah, I think that was your first appearance on the AWOL weeklies.
Yes, this is my first appearance on this AWOL. I'm glad I was able to cast with you and keep you company. It's definitely something I'd love to do in the future, so I appreciate you having me. But no, it was a blast. I love watching Altered and seeing all these players competing at this type of level. I know I've watched AWOL in the past, but never quite delved into it as much as I am now. So I'm really excited to really get more into the community and see what people are playing and know a few more names. So hopefully when I start traveling around, maybe when I make my trip to Canada for qualifiers, I'll meet a few people there.
Yeah. I also haven't met too many of the community members yet, and that's always great. That's why I'm looking forward for Essen, just to get to know all the players that I know online but haven't seen yet. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for us for today. Thank you everyone for playing, and of course also thanks for watching and chatting with us. So yeah, see you next time on Wednesday then. I think it should be Cole and who else is casting on Wednesday? It's Cole and Gio again casting together, and that's a by now AWOL classic cast team. I really like those two together. And yeah, but see you next time. And yeah, now I need to figure out how to turn off the stream again. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that should be it.